Good morning and welcome to Warcross Wrestling Network. You are here with me and Anika for Winner's Circle. It is Saturday, January 25th, bright and early, 7 a.m. over here on the West Coast, 10 a.m. on the East Coast. We are here, minus Sammy Joe. Unfortunately, he's having some internet issues, so he was unable to watch the shows this week or join us for today's episode. But me and Anika will plow through nonetheless. We've got Raw, NXT, and Dynamite to review from this week. I thought all three shows were solid this week.
Yeah.
We'll get into the details and our gradings as we go along. If you're with us, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for choosing Workhorse Wrestling Network for all of your wrestling needs, whatever they may be. If you're with us, chime in the live chat. Let us know what you think about the shows, any particular matches you want to talk about, any of those kind of things. If you're new to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit the bell to be notified. It's the best way to make sure that you get notified right before something goes up on the YouTube channel so you can see it. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you. Give us a follow. If you're watching it on the Clock app, thank you for that as well. Unfortunately, we can't see your comments from there here on Restream, but we appreciate you nonetheless. And give us a follow over there. So, yeah, I guess. How are you doing this morning, Miss Nika?
I am good. I got some
Good.
sleep. Might have gotten too much sleep, but I don't have a headache, so yeah, let's go.
All right. Let's talk some wrestling. All right. So,
Rest.
normally Sammy does the Monday Night Raw. You want to do it or you want me to do it?
I have no notes, so
Okay. I don't really have any notes either, but I have other people's notes that I can use. I mean,
all right.
I found like the results and whatever. So I mean,
If we can just talk about it, okay, cool.
so at least we know what the matches were. And so I mean, I watched it, so I mean, I remember vaguely, but that was also. I'll be
That's
honest with
on
you,
it.
like it's weird. I don't know why it is, but like for some reason, I feel like even the shows haven't necessarily been a whole lot better per se. I feel more into Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I think it's because it's new and I'm kind of waiting to see what happens. I feel like Raw was so raw for so long on USA. It's just what it was, right? And so it felt like it's a little new. So I guess I'm kind of interested to see ultimately what happens. But yeah, I mean, I ended up finding myself
I
watching
get
it on
that.
Monday nights where I never did before.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So
And
this
like, it's
week,
not like not 100% different, but it is like just a little bit different.
yeah, I mean, the production really isn't a whole lot different. It just feels a little different. Although they do like the arena. So they've always done those like in ring promo stuff, but like the
Yeah,
arena interview that Punk did this week felt a little different up there on the platform with the lot. It
definitely
felt
last week.
different.
Yes.
It felt different than your standard in-ring promo. So that feels a little new. That feels like something that they weren't necessarily doing before Netflix released. I didn't notice.
Mm-hmm.
So this Monday they were in Dallas, Texas. You got Wade Barrett and Michael Cole on the announce table. This is basically the go home Monday Night Raw for tonight's Saturday night main
It's
event.
alright.
Unfortunately, unless Anika's not working, life be lifing, and I don't think we're going to be able to do a watch long. I'm unfortunately away from home at the moment, so I'm kind of at the
It's like as
what
soon as
call
we
it, the
said
whims of the
we're
people
gonna
that I'm
do
visiting. So,
Saturday,
huh?
Desmond's like, "No, you're not. Come on."
Yeah. So we see Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley making their way into the arena, and then we're
Oh no, no,
going
no, no.
to.
Let me be very, very clear. Everybody's coming into the arena. Rhea's coming to the arena, and then she gets freaking body blocked by by Nia Jax, and basically gets jacked up. That's what happened. They didn't just both just come to the arena. They both got
They
body
just both
blocked.
come in. Sorry for not explaining it as dramatic as it actually was. Then Jay Uso's getting ready to do things after a long intro and walk to the ring. He
Yeah.
is in the ring and he wants to talk about his match with Gunther. on Saturday night's main event. I love the little spot with the kid in the crowd coming through the steps when he stopped and got the little kid to eat with him as he was coming to the ring. I'm still not totally sure. Like, I get it. Yeet is not skeet, but at the beginning, like when he very first said it a couple times, like I started to feel a little weird about it. Now it's whatever, but little kids do it. It still feels a little. I don't know. Uh,
Well, like,
to say you were yeeting all over the place feels a little weird, but I get it. I get it.
so they changed the definition because Yeet used to be just throwing someone across the freaking field.
Okay.
Evidently is not that anymore. But it's definitely not ski because I remember my sisters when that song came out was singing it all in front of my freaking parents' face. They didn't know the freak was going on until they heard it. It's like,
That's hilarious. So Jay is in the ring. He doesn't really get any chance to say anything. He gets about 2 words out, and here comes Gunther. Gunther says he's not impressed. You really are a funny little man. They kind of go back and forth a little bit. Gunther says, how long are you going to be happy? How long will you be Jay Uso by yourself? You haven't really bet on yourself. You still needed Cody Rhodes, needed Roman Reigns, or as soon as they need him, you go running back. All those things. Um, and then I'm trying to think here.
but like, I do love these moments where Jay takes the glasses off and he gets serious. He's just like, look, I told you I respected you, but you gonna respect me. I don't understand why you don't. Basically, okay, I'm paraphrasing in Anika voice. He's like, I don't really understand why you're not taking me seriously. And then he hits the tagline of, because no offense, only one of us made evented WrestleMania. That's when the fight broke out, and it's just like, yeah, that's kind of true. Everybody's
I like this. I mean,
right?
Jay's red hot, and Gunther is good as a villain.
He's so good as a villain. He's my favorite as a villain, yes.
To me, Gunther's stoic kind of, I don't want to say boring, I've said that in the past, not boring, but reserved style works much better when he has a foil like a Jay Uso who's very hyped up because they play off of each other. When you have like Gunther and Randy Orton, who both talk very slow and methodically, like that doesn't work in a promo battle. Like the energies don't, they clash. So, in this regard, I think it works having Gunther the way that he is, and these two play well off of each other. I thought this worked really well, and it hyped up the match. I'm excited for tonight's match, so I think it should be good. I was telling my buddy that, I love Gunther. Like, I would have his babies, but at the same time, like I'm ready for Jay Uso to beat him and be champion. Like I really feel that. Like I think that would be so cool. Just because Jay has been the tag team guy for so long, and even for a while, even though he's definitely shown now, he was kind of the little brother for a little while. Like there was a period where Jay was kind of like the guy, and Jay was like the. And so now Jay to come out of not his shell, but just to be able to break free like that and show what he could really do, it'd be so awesome if he was champion. So, but I imagine Gunther's going to get the win. Well, who do you think wins that match?
His Gunther. It's like. There's more. I'm thinking of the crackheads who make the show, emotional crackheads, and I can see them saying, "Oh, Gunther can face this person, that person." If Jay wins the belt, I don't see any opponents lined up for him by them. So yeah,
that's unfortunate.
I wanted to, but they're not doing it. Oh, punk.
T-Dog's here with us, as she has been in the past. She said she missed Raw on Monday night because she was watching the International Championship game, which was an amazing game. Congratulations to the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I want Jay to win, though.
Congratulations to Ohio State for the win. It was a solid Raw. I mean, good. Yeah, I mean, I would say good. I mean, it wasn't, it definitely wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. As we get into it, we'll talk more about it, and we'll give it an ultimate grade after we're done reviewing it.
If you don't have anything else to do, watch Raw.
Yeah. She says the only heels she likes right now are Gunther and Drew McIntyre. I'm not the biggest Drew McIntyre fan, but
Bye bye.
I do like the current Drew. I like
Yeah.
what he's doing right now. It's maybe my favorite Drew so far. Let's see. So then they have the fight, obviously, blah, blah, blah. Then we're backstage. New Day runs into JBL.
Mm.
JBL is going to be the guest commentator for their match against Rey Mysterio, and
Texas.
they try to pay him off to, I guess, help them and talk good about them, like make them look better on the commentary table in everybody's eyes because they've been getting so much heat about what they have been doing with,
Well,
or that
more
what
so,
happened with
like
Big E.
they're looking for someone to what's the face to side with them. They're like,
Yeah,
come on, because you did this and he
yeah,
did, where you had to drop your tag team partner to be better and be a bigger star. And he was like, yeah, yes, I did. I had to, and it was like just like you dropped Big E because he was a star. Everywhere you go, everybody want to talk about Big E, and everybody just loves Big E. And you had to drop him because he was just stealing your life. And it's like I don't think I don't think he's agreeing with y'all, even though it sounds like he agreed with y'all.
they're looking for someone to co-sign their bullshit. So,
Basically, yes.
and so they
And,
try to pay
and
JBL to
hey,
do that.
Big E was sorry. JBL was a safe bet. It's like, yeah, he's gonna. No, you're not. Oh, wow. Like one of those. It was like one of those moments.
Let's see. Then Bailey says she's officially back on Raw and ready for Nia Jax tonight. She's
Yes.
also going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble. Jax comes in and her mic isn't on at first, but she says she's going to win the Royal Rumble. Violence is teased, but nothing becomes of it as they look each other down. Very interesting, leading up to tonight's match. Then we get our first match of the night. Rey Mysterio versus the aforementioned Kofi Kingston with Xavier Woods as we get New Day chants. Oh, let me rephrase that. So they came out first to the New Day music
Mhm.
and then they stopped it. Stop, 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 stop. We told you guys don't play that music no more. And then they played some other new music, which I didn't really pay close enough attention to. But so, but apparently they don't want to come out to the New Day music anymore. So they make their way down to
I
the ring,
mean,
and Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston have a match.
like the music isn't gonna match the vibe anymore. So I'm a little interested in the new song. I don't like, as you can see in this day and time, it's kind of hard to find a good theme music. So I'm like, I know y'all are heels, but CFO are still broken up. Are y'all sure y'all want to do it?
Yeah. So these two have what I would call basically a traditional Monday Night Raw match between two established superstars. Nothing great here, but nothing terrible. Both guys are solid wrestlers. I mean, I have my views on Rey Mysterio, but that's not to take away from what he can do in the ring or that he's a good wrestler. Ultimately, Ray gets the win in just about 10 minutes. I do like that Ray got the loss because with New Day, I'm still calling them New Day until they give themselves another name.
Exactly. Yes.
The heels, I like because they're heels that they take the loss here because it further infuriates them and further drives them, into that
Yeah.
spiral. So I like that Ray got the win here, even though I don't really like Rey Mysterio winning. Um, it makes
It's not
sense for the
even big man,
storyline.
big man. It's Kofi. Come on.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, I mean, obviously these are the matches that Rey Mysterio, wins often, and this is why he's one of the best of all time. So, but I thought this was a good little spot here. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm really, really, really into heel Kofi and Xavier. I think they're great at the moment. I think this is the most for me because I don't really do a lot of like that. I wasn't into the bootios and the pancakes. Like that didn't do it for me. So for me, this is one of my favorite iterations of these two together. I really like this at the moment. So what about you?
No, so I was into all that. I was in terms of all that. But I'm interested in seeing how they make this to their own, this Heels run. Like they come out, I'm like, really? So they're all in black now. I'm like, yeah, look like extras from New Jack City. I'm like, all right, we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. So I am interested in seeing them go back to being heel. So it's gonna be very, very fun for me.
Unfortunately, Tammy says you're echoing a little.
So when I talk, I'm not 100% you're gonna do it, but I think you need to mute your phone, your tablet, your tablet.
Okay. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Yeah, it's because I don't have a headset. I think that's the problem.
Yeah. All right. So yep, as you can see, there is no echo. I'm all good to go, and New Day sucks. So see ya.
Okay. So I'll just make sure to turn my mic off when you talk because I don't have a headset, so it's just playing through my laptop. So that's why they're hearing the echo. That makes sense.
No worries.
All right. Let's see. Oh, Tommy says I still have the Bootios and the New Day popcorn popsicle makers.
I want a Booty-O. I didn't want to see how they taste it. Cause I'm like, hold up, we actually made cereal. How's this gonna go?
Let's see. Post match, we did have a little bit of beatdown. LWO runs in. Blah blah blah. Joaquin Wild, yeah. We got to look at Penta debut, and we're gonna get another match tonight against Pete Dunne. Which, now that he's had his debut match, I'm much more okay with him having a match against a really quality opponent. I still, even though I liked him versus Chad Gable, I still think it should have been a little bit more dominant first match for Penta. But that being said, it was what it was, and I'm just glad he's here because I get to see him still. I was disappointed not seeing him on TV because he hadn't been in AEW for a while either. So I'd rather see him in AEW. I'd rather see Lucha Brothers with the tag team championships in AEW or WWE if Ray Phoenix wanted to come here. But in lieu of that, I'll take Penta anywhere I can get him. So
He wants to come, but as you he has some stuff. He has some time tag on his contract, so seeing Ray Phoenix in WWE is going to be a minute. Yeah.
let's see. Tommy says, I haven't opened the Booty-O cereal, and I did try to. It tastes like Lucky Charms.
It looked like Lucky Charms. Okay, cool.
So, let's see. So we've got American Made. After the Penta look back, we got American Made. They're not happy about what happened and promised to win a bunch of titles. And Chad Gable has someone to help him master Lucha Libre. Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Who is Dominic Mysterio even a luchador? Like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, yes, he jumps around and does a little flips, and I guess he's Mexican, so is every Mexican wrestler a luchador? I thought lucha libre was a style. I didn't realize every Mexican wrestler is a luchador. Maybe they are.
No,
Maybe that's just the term for wrestler in Mexico. I'm not sure, but.
So no, not every Mexican is a luchador.
Okay.
But in this scenario, Dom Mysterio is the only one close enough who will actually help Chad Gable. This should be stupid as hell, and I want to see how stupid they can get it. I'm like I said, what luchador is going to help Chad Gable beat Penta? I want to know who it is, and I feel like they're going to put. I heard people say they're gonna have Dom in the mask. I want that to happen. I want Dom to be in the mask and be the artist. That's what I want to happen. This should be a stupid segment, and I want the stupid demons to come out full hearted.
Okay, so we then have Wade. Look at Wade Barrett winning the first season of NXT nearly 15 years ago. In that same arena, which I guess is why we're acknowledging it. I'm not totally sure why. I thought this was a little odd. Like it felt like a little out of place, but okay. Like I guess because it was in that arena and that 15 years is something, I suppose. And Wade Barrett's on the show. I mean, just seemed odd to me. So Sami Zayn is here. It's Royal Rumble, and that's time for him to up his level in WWE. He's done a lot of great things, but the difference between him and the top stars is a world title. He doesn't need one to validate his career, but 14-year-old him wants a world title, and he's going to take it.
He
QKO.
wants it.
QKO. KO comes out. They have a little talk. KO says, "You're my guy." Blah blah blah. Whatever, whatever. We're all good. We're best friends, and I hope that you win the Royal Rumble. And they're closer than brothers have been, and Zayn can win the Royal Rumble, and Owens can beat Cody Rhodes, and then Owens and Zayn can run it back, and they'll have what they can do what they want and fight for the title as friends, I guess. What do you think of this segment?
This so this was the encounter we were all waiting for, because it's like, oh, you're mad that Cody helped Roman Reigns and win. And it's like, hold up, your best friend was also on that team. And so it was just, and so when you hear we finally heard the it's like, it's here, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. And so it's like, and so when KO got into the ring, Sammy was like, all right, let's do it, because like he was already prepared for it. And then manipulative KO. You know what? I'm glad I'm still talking, because mute yourself, because I've been wanting to say this for a minute. So all you crackheads, they're saying 2023. Oh, Sammy did the right thing. KO his best friend. Oh, forgetting that KO betrayed him too and was a manipulative little sucker. This is what we're talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Come on. Oh, you can't hit it with a chair. That's your best friend. Forgetting that your best friend freaking betrayed you in NXT. This is the KO that I was talking about. So, yeah, manipulative behind KO come to the freaking ring to come out. You know what? I forgive you because you forgive me, because we're best friends. We have a brotherhood. That's the kind of person that you are. And you know what? It'd be really good if the next time we chop it up, it's gonna be a WrestleMania for the title. And just like you were just because you helped Roman because he needed help. When I need help, I know you gonna be here for me. So yeah, come on, best friend. I'm glad you're going to Royal Rumble. Let's make this happen. Let it be you and me for the title at WrestleMania. And it's like, really? This is manipulative behind crackhead? Exactly. This manipulative crackhead talking about basically is trying to emotionally manipulative his best friend. So when they do the Magic Royal Rumble, it's like, Sammy, are you gonna help me? Like you helped Roman? You should have hit him in the chair. You should have hit him in the back of the freaking chair. Now look at you. Now look at you. Being manipulated by your best friend. I'm done.
And then KO left, and Sammy looked all. KO kind of rushed out of the ring, and Sammy was looking a little
All
inquisitive,
conflicted.
yeah, a little conflicted, a little skeptical about all this that's going on. So let's see. Sheamus is ready for his Intercontinental. He wants to win the Intercontinental title. It's the one title he's never won.
And let him do it,
And
damn it.
and it's the one that drew him to WWE in the first place. Braun Breaker
I
comes
can see
in to
that.
hold up the title and says, "This is as close as Sheamus is going to get to it." On Saturday night, he's going to beat him down like an old man. Sheamus shoves him, and Breaker laughs. What about this? Did you like this little interaction between Braun and Sheamus? Are you looking forward to this match tonight? Who
Well,
do you
is
think
this, is
gets
this
the
on
win?
Saturday night main event too, or just
Yeah.
like on a random Raw?
No, I think it's on Saturday night's main event tonight.
Okay. More so, I don't hate it. I'm behind Sheamus in his quest to get the Intercontinental title. I would say we need more Braun Breaker. I feel like he was a little bit forgotten, like a little tossed in the shuffle. So I am glad this spotlight's on him. So it's like, yeah. After this match, I don't see Sheamus. I see Sheamus winning the IC title, but not at that main event. I feel like it's gonna be like whatever he wants to retire. Like they're gonna prolong this like when he wants to retire. This will be his retirement match at WrestleMania or something big like that. But side note with with Braun Breaker, it's like we've got a couple of people that he can face. Let's focus on Braun Breaker. I know a whole lot's been going on, and I don't fault you for it because WrestleMania is in April. They really don't have anything set up, so I can see them be like, he's all right. But yeah, let's get back to Braun Breaker and the IC title just a little bit. But hey, we got a new luchador in the house. If you want to do Penta versus Braun Breaker, I wouldn't be mad at that. I'm just saying, I'm helping y'all out. Just throwing that out there for WrestleMania.
Tommy says, I really want Sheamus to win the title. That's the only time that I lose him, love him. I'm not sure.
It's the only time I lost it. Or
Maybe
I
it's the
think
only
probably
time
the only
he hasn't
time he
won.
was room for him and he lost.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Um, hey, what happened here? Hold on for a second. Sorry. Something
No
popped up
worries.
on my screen. Okay. Let's see. So as far as Sheamus and whatchamacallit go, I mean, Braun Breaker, I understand that it's Sheamus's. It's the only title he hasn't won, and at some point, you're right. He probably should to solidify whatever being a guy that's won every title. At the same time, at this point, I'm pretty sure he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. At least in my mind, he is. Um, so he doesn't really have a whole lot more to prove or accomplish. That being said, a nice title run at the end, like you said, a little last minute Brian Danielson type situation in AEW kind of thing, but not the world title, obviously, the IC title, would be fine. But yeah, I don't think you should beat Braun Breaker tonight, and I don't think they need to do more with Braun as opposed to take the title off him and do something else. They need to give
Yeah.
Braun more time and they need to give him a bigger push. There are guys, plenty of guys out there in the mid card that he can have, really good feuds with. So and I think that even though I'm not the biggest Braun Breaker fan, he is the present and the future at the moment, whereas Sheamus is the present and the past. I mean, I'm not trying to put Sheamus out to pasture, but he's definitely, he's got less days ahead of him than he does behind him at this point. Where Braun Breaker, at least in my eyes, as far as watching him wrestle and on my TV, has years ahead of him. I don't know. Obviously, I think Sheamus is definitely older. I don't know what their ages are per se, but it feels like Braun Breaker needs the title and the run to continue to grow his name and his brand, right? So yeah, I mean, I think Braun gets the win, and a win over Sheamus is a good win. I mean, that's a big solid win. So and hopefully hopefully they start to warm him back up again, at least with as far as like his appearances on TV and those kind of things. So
But yeah, like after
yeah.
this, be over with this. Let Sheamus and Braun do something else, please.
We get a little Bob Uecker memorial package. Then Bailey and Nia Jax. Roxanne Perez is in the front row to watch as these two go at it. Ultimately, after a very solid match of about 15 minutes, which is more time than they give the women a lot of times. So I was kind of impressed about that. And honestly, when it was over, it didn't feel like that long. Looking at the time here and these notes now, I was like 15 minutes. It felt like it was shorter than that. So that's an example of a really good match, right? Because
Yeah.
when it's a bad match, you're like, why is it taking so long? When it's a really good match, you're like, well, that seemed to go quick, and before you know it, it was 15 minutes. So no, I thought these two, I thought this worked really well. Even though I often have issues with the smaller against the bigger, there isn't quite that huge size dynamic here. Bailey's not tiny, and Nia Jax is
She's
big,
not.
but she's not giant, right? So
Yeah.
in the scheme of things. So, it works and they have good chemistry. I like that they still do kind of even though there isn't kind of the smaller, bigger person like dynamic, Nia Jax is definitely the strength and the power where Bailey's trying to use her speed and kind of jumpiness and flippiness a little bit. Not flippiness, but you know what I mean. More athletic based offense.
Agile.
There you go. And eventually Nia Jax gets her with the Annihilator. I thought Bayley had her beat a few times. There were a couple times where it was close, and I was like, "Oh, Bayley's gonna get the win here," but the Samoan drop, and then ultimately the Annihilator in the corner. And at this point, no one's really getting up from the Annihilator, right? So I thought this was really solid. I liked it. What do you think of the match? And then we'll talk about the post match.
This was really good, and I'm. It's been a minute because the last time they faced was in Saudi, and so I'm like, but I will say it anyway. This probably was definitely better than their no, sorry, not Saudi, but the last time they faced each other. I want to say it was either SummerSlam or when they faced each other for the belt at a premium live event. I want to say it was better than that. It was a premium live event. No, it's sure what it was, but yeah. So like they're trying some new stuff at the premium live event. But for me, this is way better. It always is like that, right? When the pressure's off, you just do what you know how to do. Like, all right, bet. But yeah, no, I love this. I love both of these girls. It's crazy because what's the word? This is Bayley's first match on Raw. Now, this isn't her first match. She isn't debuting, but this is her first match on Raw. So it's like I did want her to win, although we do know why Nia lost. So it really was like we always say, don't be a punk. Just make a decision who wins. And I made a decision. Nia won, and it was the right decision. But it's like this was Bayley's first match back on Raw. But like you said, this was a good match. This was a really, really good match. I loved it.
Post match, Rhea Ripley still hurting, comes out for a brawl with Nia. They get in security, can't break them up. They fight, blah blah blah. Rhea gets the mic and issues a challenge for tonight's Saturday night main event. Rhea versus Nia Jax tonight. What do you think about that? What do you think about Rhea coming out, and what do you think about Nia and Rhea tonight?
I love a good hot fight. I love a good hot fight. We're just like you roll after you gonna basically jump me from the back and I don't get my look back. Like, come on. So I love that. I love the whole trying to break them up. And then she just does I want to say what's the word?
A splash? With Nia in the corner or
no. When Rhea jumps off the table and lands on everybody.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
A plancha.
They do it in the corner a lot. All right, fine. No. Too much brain cells. But yeah, and I love the intensity of it. It's like you, me, Saturday night. It's like you said. Sometimes you don't need a whole backstory. Sometimes it's like I'm gonna beat your behind, and I'm gonna beat your behind. Yes, all of this. And looking at the card on Saturday night. I'm sorry we don't do it watch along, but I'm personally more invested in this Saturday night than last Saturday night main event. Because last Saturday night main event was too predictable. This actually has some maybes. I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah, I loved all this.
Yeah, this Saturday night looks like a very good card. It should be fun. Tommy says, back to the Braun Breaker real quick. She says, Braun Breaker kind of reminds me of Braun Strowman, a smaller version. He's a total badass. Yeah. I can see that. I think he's a better talker than Braun Strowman.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's a little more athletic than Braun Strowman, but I could definitely see that. I mean, they definitely want to portray him in that way. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's not near. I don't think he's near as big. Like she says, he's smaller. But yeah, I mean, they're giving him that kind of Goldberg-esque attitude, right? So, that's his persona. Let's see. So we have a recap of Damian Priest and Finn Balor's match last week. Damian Priest getting the win. And then that's ultimately, well, we know because we saw it last night, but Damian Priest ultimately leaving and getting moved to SmackDown. So that being, what do you think about that? Real quick, we'll just touch on that because this was the recap of Finn and Damian from last week. What do you think about Damian now being on SmackDown?
It was a refreshing change of pace. Like, because no offense, on Raw, it really was kind of like, what's the point? There was no one else for him to face. For me, that was interesting. and it's like he is your top, he is in your top layer, your top main event or baby faces, right? So it's like unless you're gonna let him beat Gunther, and that felt like that wasn't the plan, unless he beats Punk. Like everyone who's your top person, it feels like you're not letting him beat. So it's like, yeah, and but we and him versus Judgment Day, that needs to that it's over. It's over. He beat. It's crazy how they said this was only the second or third match, and it felt like it's a whole lot more fights they have between them. And so like he beat him. He beat him. There's no we get a look back. He beat him. Let's move on. So him moving on to Friday. Yes. This was a great move. Yes.
I tend to agree. He needed kind of a little fresh start. I'm not a Judgment Day fan. I was never necessarily a big fan of him with Judgment Day to begin with. So just gets him away from that and from Finn Balor altogether and give him a little reboot. So I'm here for that. There's Chad Gable's in the back with Judgment Day. He's talking to Dominic Mysterio about how he's going to learn the secrets of lucha libre. He mistakes everybody's name and then takes off, which I thought was kind of funny. Chad Gable, for someone that's that's pretty deadpan. His humor is quite funny.
Yes.
I enjoy him. And then Liv and or Judgment Day talks amongst themselves. JD says some stuff. Dominic's trying to get back to. I don't gather. I mean, I guess they're still together, but in Liv's good graces, and Liv says, "Oh, we're fine," but you can tell that she's still not happy as well. She shouldn't be. What do you think about Chad Gable with Dominic again, and then any of this stuff with Judgment Day? Anything?
So the reason why Dominic got over was like not just the whole big mommy stuff. It was the stuff in the back that actually was like, this dude is stupid. Like him getting arrested, him coming out as Dirty Dom in the police car, him going to his family's house and trying to interrupt holidays. Like that is prime Dominic Mysterio in his back. So I real life hope they're giving us a good segment where him and Chad Gable are going to be straight up stupid. It just I want that for my life. Please set it up.
I agree. This seems to be an opportunity for some good comic relief. I'm very interested to see what kind of luchador stuff Dom tries to teach him and train them. Yeah, there's a chance here to do some really funny stuff. Hopefully, it comes out like that. Sometimes they try to do some stuff and it comes off wrong, and yeah. So I hope that this
But
comes off the right way.
but it's Chad and Dom. Like it really isn't like you would have to basically drop kick them in the face for it to go wrong. Yeah. And then like the whole him living Dom, like
Let's see.
you both ain't got nothing better to do, so yeah.
Gonna skip over a couple things. Well, I'll mention them real quick. We don't have to talk about them. They had a little package of Lyra winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship last week. We had them look at the Notre Dame football coach being a big wrestling fan. And then we did get something that's probably worth at least mentioning. It was Martin Luther King's birthday. So we did get a nice little Martin Luther King Jr. video package. I'll be honest with you. You know, when you I understand you're in the business of selling tickets and you want to keep your fans. It feels very hollow when one week you have Hulk Hogan on your, coming out on your stage and having a contract with a guy that's clearly outspokenly racist, and then you try to promote, Martin Luther King on the next. And so there is a little bit of yeah. So I don't know, but nonetheless, I guess at least they say something, right? So
Yeah.
Sami Zayn. Oh, go ahead.
I'm glad you're not ignoring it. Next.
Sami Zayn bumps into Seth Rollins, not bumps into him, comes up to Seth Rollins and says he's happy for their talk last week. Rollins is glad to hear it. They'll both be in the Royal Rumble, but they'll, let's see. Oh, and then they show Karrion Kross smiling in the background. So, okay. I mean, they'll both be in the Rumble. I think Cross is going to be in the Rumble too, I would imagine, as well. I mean, they need bodies, so why would he not be in the Rumble as well? Be interesting to see how that plays out. Sammy and Seth, okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I'm kind of interested in I wouldn't mind seeing them wrestle each other,
Yeah.
honestly. But Or again, I think we've seen that before. But nonetheless, Penta versus Pete Dunne in Penta's second WWE match. Let's see, they talk about the fact that these two have wrestled together in Rev Pro before, which I thought was very interesting. I do
Really?
like that
We just
WWE
talking about other companies here. Let's go.
is no longer kind of hiding from wrestlers' pasts and is talking about where they come from and who they maybe used to be or all that kind of stuff. So my buddies, I said that to my friend, and he said, "Yeah, you notice they still don't mention AEW." So, which
They're not competition. We're just not mentioning them though. It's hey, in this segment, they've never faced each other on AEW. So what's the point of mentioning AEW if they didn't face? It's about how when they were facing each other. It wasn't in AEW, so why mention it? Uh.
So Pete Dunne and Penta have a solid match, about 10 minutes or so. I thought this was really good. Penta gets a Penta driver for the finish and gets the win on Pete Dunne. So 2 weeks in a row, beating quality opponents like Chad Gable and Pete Dunne. Even though I've kind of talked a little bit about how I thought maybe he should have had another opponent in the beginning, looking back on it now, he has two big wins and in his two opening matches. So yeah, I mean, I thought this was really good. I enjoyed this. I thought these two had solid chemistry, and I enjoyed this.
Someone said in a alternate universe, not even an alternate universe, 5 or 6 years ago, if they did Forbidden Door with NXT and AEW, this would have probably been a main event. I totally agree. Uh, we gotta do some work with Butch. Or sorry, Pete Dunne. See. That's how bad y'all are not using Pete Dunne right now. I actually used the word Butch, and that was not on purpose. That was by accident. We're just like all right, not sure what we're doing, but y'all gotta y'all gotta work with this man. He is not a scrub. He is not Penn Balor. So I'm gonna need y'all to do more with him. And we were just talking about Braun Breaker, and he has something to do. That's a prime freaking match. So yes, not sure if you move him someplace else, but whatever you need to do. But yeah, I want more from my Pete Dunne. And so, like you said, this match was good. I am not a fan of long behind matches. If they don't feel long, cool. But in my mind, 15 minutes is long enough to get a good match in. So 10 minutes was great. Like I said, hopefully they'll do this again with a more pushed Pete Dunne. But yeah, this was good though. A nice little strong 10 minutes.
It's weird because for a minute they were really pushing Pete Dunne. He had like three different feuds. He had that thing with Sheamus, and he was doing something I think with Ridge Holland on NXT, and then he also had something else going on for a minute. And then all of a sudden it was like they just cooled him down again. I don't. It's very weird. I'm not sure why, but nonetheless, I did like this, and I do hope that they do something more with Pete Dunne. Let's see,
Yeah.
Logan Paul thinks it must suck to hate him because he's just so good at everything. Why should the WWE be any different? And he's going to make his Raw debut next week, unfortunately. Are you excited for
Listen.
Logan Paul?
Did anyone miss Logan Paul when he was gone? Can anyone remember Logan Paul's last match?
No.
But I get it. He's a social media star, so we're just going to use him for the views. But let that be just for the views. You don't need to be anything major storylines. We don't need none of that. If you want him to be, the only one I will say yes to, because I don't care about none of them, is him versus John Cena. Y'all can do that, but like all the important stuff that we care about, leave them. Let them go to the side, please.
I understand that this is, Cena's last run or whatever, but I still don't understand why everyone has to be focused so much on John Cena. I mean, this is this is a way past due final run. Like, dude hasn't wrestled more than one match a year for like 5 years now. It seems like it's not like Brian Danielson, where like he was an everyday wrestler and now all of a sudden it's his last run. Like, you should have had your last run 5 years ago. Like, it should be
Bruh,
done
like
by now. So that being said, here comes Punk Ass Phil into the crowd. We talked a little bit about this before, about how this interview or promo style feels a little different than the normal in-ring promo.
Yeah.
It's like an interview, but kind of up in the, I don't know, they were up on like a stanchion, kind of in the crowd almost, it
So
looked like.
like
And
it was new but old at the same time. It reminded you of Nitro when they were on the stage, but the
oh,
crowd
yeah,
was
yeah,
right
yeah.
behind them and they're doing those interviews. It reminded you of that. And so
Yeah.
he did an old school promo. He's like, February 2nd, Royal Rumble. I will be there. Who am I going to toss out? I'm tossing out everybody. I'm talking about Cena. He can't see me. Roman, there's no tribal chief. And it was someone else. I can't forget. And then the line. I'm pretty sure he planned this. Doesn't matter if he was going to say it or not. He was like, Hulk Hogan. I'll throw his dusty behind over the rope and I'm going to kill Hulkamania once and for all. It's like, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was a good one. I'm happy you said that. Now, don't do that. We already have enough stars. Do not put Hogan in Royal Rumble, please, and thank you. But yeah, this was great.
Even if your plan is to have Punk or somebody eliminate him quickly, I still don't need to see him in the match at all. I just don't need
Nope.
to see him. I don't need to see him on TV anymore. And WWE, if they were smart, I understand that he is, a WWE legend, and that, for all intents and purposes, WWE owes a fair amount to him because he was able to get them over in the 80s. At the same time, you've got to learn from your mistakes and realize who people really are, and you've got to disassociate yourself. You can no longer be associated with him. And I realize that you just signed a contract with his beer company and all that stuff, which just makes it worse. Instead of furthering yourself, distancing yourself from him, you're pulling him closer in. And yeah, I mean, at some
Yeah.
point, I don't know. I
Let
feel like I
go.
should stop watching WWE because I know how terrible
Oh
they
no,
are.
no. I've already established my breaking point of if this person comes, I'm not watching it anymore. And hopefully they're not going to do it. Hopefully they're smart enough. And we'll talk. Screw it. If I see Tessa Blanchett in NXT, I'm gonna have to stop watching WWE. I'm like, okay, y'all really did it. Y'all really did it. All right, bye. It's fine. That's my breaking point. Do not do it. Please don't do it. Not sure who in the back wants to fight Tessa. Let them fight them in a dark match on TNA. That's not live. But don't do it don't on my television screen. Please.
So next we had Damage Control versus Pure Fusion
True.
Collection or Collective. It was Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Io Sky and Dakota Kai. No Kyrie Sane.
She's still hurt from her arm.
That's right. Io gets the win with the moonsault, pinning Shayna Baszler, which I much rather have seen her pin Zoe Stark, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Again, I don't. It's really unfortunate because I really like. Well, okay, I love Io Sky and Kyrie Sane. I think they're amazing. I love Asuka. So I love 3 out of the 4 members of Damage Control when they're all there and going right. Dakota Kai, I've often said I thought they made the wrong choice and should have gone with Tegan Knox when it felt like they had that choice. That being said, there's nothing wrong with Dakota Kai. It's just one of these things doesn't quite feel like the other. And when you're comparing her to Bayley, especially when they had Bayley, I mean that Bayley didn't make them credible alone, but the 4 of them together had that. I'm not gonna say the 4 horsewomen feel, but it had that same credibility to it,
It
Whereas
was.
unfortunately, Dakota Kai doesn't carry that same kind of resume and
Yeah.
credibility with her. So
Yeah.
that being said, I thought this was an okay match. I'm glad that Damage Control gets the win. Damage Control should not be losing to the Pure Fusion Collective. Pure Fusion Collective, other than Shayna Baszler, and I've said this a bunch of times, unfortunately, is a mid card faction, and Damage Control is a main event faction. So, that being said, I also do kind of like this feud. At least it gives them something to do. Damage Control to a certain extent. So, and I'm a huge Shayna Baszler fan, so I wish she could get away from this. But that being said, away from this, she doesn't do anything either. So, I'm not confident that if she wasn't in the Pure Fusion Collective that she would be getting singles matches or a push either. So if this is the only way that they're going to push her, then I guess that's fine to a certain extent. So what do you think about all this and this match in general?
Listen, listen. So why is on my brain? I will forget. They WWE and TNA have turned up, right? I need to see Marsha Slim a bitch versus Shayna Baszler in NXT. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. All I want to see is Marsha versus Shayna 2. I didn't see one because I can't pay for any more apps. I want to see 2. And it got to be on TNA. On NXT. On NXT, please. I want that for my life personally. Now, this whole thing. Like I said, this was a good match. I'm not sure why people don't like Zoe Starks or have a or whatever thing they have with her. I'm like, I think Zoe Starks in ring is good. I think she's really good. So, like you said, it is kind of like, yeah, this is you can call it a feud, but I don't think that Pure Fusion Collective has ever beat Damage Control. So it's like, can you call it a feud? If I whoop you behind a couple more than you beat me, or if you ever beat me. So with that said, it's like, please don't do this no more. Unfortunately, with Pure Fusion Collective, if you break them up, I don't see them. They have to be with other people. Them right as of right now, them by themselves will not do them any good. So yeah, so I'm not sure how to revive them, but I'm with you with Shayna. She deserves to get revived. She deserves to get a decent push. So I'm not sure. It's like, hey, yeah, beat up on these both girls and let her break free and go face Marsha. Like you got Cora Jade over there. Screw that. Put Shayna over there and give me that freaking match. Come on. And last but not least, my girl EO. I'm not sure what are we doing with her, because she's over. People like her, but there's no primitive plan, and it's like she should have a plan. There should be a match at WrestleMania or an actual feud. If you want her versus Lyra for the belt, I'm not mad at that. If you want her versus Rhea, can we please get on with that? Can we please set that up faster? The earlier you can set that up is the better. So that's it.
Agree with all of that. And that ultimately brings us to the main event match of the show, which is actually we get a little video package, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, a little build up. And that is our main event of the night, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. In what was a solid match, I'll be honest with you. They went back and forth. They had a lot of back and forth, a lot of two counts. This is the second match in a row, I believe, that I am aware of that Drew has lost. Didn't he lose last week on Monday Night Raw in the same kind of roll up? Also, and I think I had it was either last week or the week before. And like I was saying, I get it. Like 17 minutes, which is what this match went. Both men are somewhat gassed, although these guys are cardio beasts. So to be fair, I mean, it is what it
Yeah.
is. But both men are somewhat gassed. I understand that you can get caught potentially at any time. I still am not the biggest fan of people getting rolled up for a 3 count for a loss when it feels like they're not in a stunned or beat down kind of position when they seem
Yeah.
like they're up and normal and kind of interacting. Now, if you're distracted, even that I have a little bit of a problem with, but if you're distracted, I guess at least it's somewhat something. But when it's just a
Yeah.
simple roll up and it's like, oh, it's over real 3 seconds, when you've kicked out a 25 2 counts already, like 3 seconds really isn't that fast. And there's plenty of time for you to kick out there when you're not hurt. So other than that tiny little nitpick of the finish, I thought these two had a solid match. They work well together. Seth is great. Drew is what he is. And for a main event, these are two of your big stars, so I can see why they're main eventing this show. And I thought it was a solid match. I mean, I give it 3.5 or 4 stars, somewhere right around there. I mean, I thought it was solid for what it was.
No. So I like I said, I like to have it rehype this up because This actually is a WrestleMania rematch, and unfortunately, Seth was hurt. Like you know, tell Seth was hurt WrestleMania, so it was kind of like so when he came out, he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be different now. I got two good knees now." I actually do like, oh, we get it's not WrestleMania, but we do get a second shot to see how good the WrestleMania match could be, and then what they did great. They did great. Unlike so it's like I know what he's saying about the roll up, but at least it's not just a no DQ, at least on a DQ finish, and you're kind of keeping Drew strong. So I'm not mad at the DQ. I'm not mad at the roll up, as long as it's not a DQ finish. So yeah, great match. Very entertaining and not long. So it's like I was cool with all of this.
I liked it. I thought it was a solid episode of Raw. I mean, there wasn't
Oh,
nothing.
so
Oh,
after
sorry, post
that,
match. Post
Yeah,
match.
Drew got
Sorry, sorry,
pissed
sorry.
and started beating up Seth, and then
And then Sammy
Sami
came
Zayn came
down.
out to help, and but he accidentally haluva kicks Seth. Royal Rumble, every man for himself, but let's not do the whole you do it on purpose, sir. Watch it back. You know it wasn't on purpose, so let's not do that, please. Let's not have that trope of, oh, you try to kick me on purpose. No, fool. He actually moved out the way at the last minute. Let's not do that. So, but I do love the whole we're not going to Royal Rumble completely trusting each other. I do love that aspect of the story.
I did. I do hope that you're right that they don't just do the standard. Uh, you kicked me. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to see that again. I mean, it would be nice every once in a while if someone just said, "Yeah, I understand it was an accident. I know what you were doing." Like, uh, but no. That being
My bad.
said, I thought it was a very solid Raw. I mean, I didn't think there was anything spectacular, but nothing terrible either. I'm gonna give it a B this week. I thought it was a solid B. What about you?
I am in the same boat. Yeah, it was definitely a B. I'm trying to think. There wasn't anything bad about it. It was just like, yeah, it's fine. So
It was
yeah, with
fine.
that, yeah, solid B.
All right. So that's the end of our Raw review from the 20th. And moving on to NXT from the next night, Tuesday, January 21st. And we are in our home of the Capitol Center where we always are, although they're about to go on the road, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. In a minute here, as they
Wait,
were
hold up.
announcing.
Wait. Time out. They're not in Orlando no more? Not at Full Sail?
Um, they're at the Capitol Wrestling Center, wherever that is.
Interesting.
Let's see, where is that at? Does it say where they're at? I mean, it just says Capitol Wrestling Center. They've been there for a while now. Is that in Orlando? It might be in Orlando. I don't know.
It might be. I'll
I'm
look
not
it
totally
up.
sure where the
Okay.
Capitol Wrestling Center is, but
All right.
they're going to go on the road. At least they announced a couple on the road NXTs during this episode. So, but as a general rule, they've been in the Capitol Center for a while. So, we got Booker T, Vic Joseph, and Corey Graves here. I do like Corey Graves on NXT. They could honestly even though they're both color and Vic does more like the play by play, I would almost be okay with them getting. I don't dislike Vic Joseph, but I'd almost be okay with just Booker T and Corey if one of them wanted to take on the actual play by play.
See,
Let's see.
I
Oh,
flipped it. I
huh?
actually would like this Big Joseph and Corey Graves.
More than Booker T?
If we had to choose two, yes, I would rather have Corey Graves and Big Joseph.
Wow. And so, no Booker T announcer at all, or would you move him somewhere else? Because for me personally, I'm not gonna lie. Other than a couple little things he does that irritate me, for me, I think Booker T's my favorite WWE announcer across every show.
No, he definitely brings the energy, and like I said, hopefully, like I am not mad at 3-man tables. It's a matter of them actually gelling together. But if I had to choose, those are my top two, and I would miss the even though it's not even your favorite. I would miss him hyping up Trick when he comes through. That'd be probably the main thing. I'll be like, no, can he still come out and do that and then leave?
let's see. Okay, so opening NXT, you see Oba coming to the arena. You see Eddie Thorpe they're gonna have a match tonight. In fact, they're gonna be the main event. Here's Bailey, and we're gonna kick off the show with the North American Championship match: Tony D versus Ridge Holland. These two go at it.
Hey!
These two go at it for a little bit, and then ultimately, it breaks down. And we get Brooks Jensen and Nico are out for a brawl with Luca and Stax, and then Ridge sets up Tony for the Destroyer, and Izzy Dame nails Ridge, and then Tony wipes him out for the pin, and Tony D'Angelo gets the win here in about 7.5 minutes. I thought this was okay. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Ridge Holland, but I thought this match worked okay. It looks like I lost Anika for a minute, but I'm sure she'll be back. I thought this was solid. Tony D, is a very good wrestler. I imagine he's destined for the main roster here soon. I don't know when or what that looks like. We've talked a lot on this show about whether Tony D, can do the Don / Godfather thing on the main roster. Whether it plays well on the main roster, does he need to take the whole family with him? Stax and Crucifino don't have any business being on the main roster other than being Tony D's henchmen. So I guess that's really the question. And if you bring Tony D up and you switch him, what do you switch him to? If you give him a new persona, what persona is that? What makeover do you give him? And that's always an issue, right? Because then they kind of lose some momentum from what they were when they, were able to get over. So that being said, Tony D did get the win and is still the North American champion. And, luckily Ridge Holland takes a loss here. What do you think of this match? And again, just real quick, I spoke about Tony D being ready for the main roster, but not sure how that fits. What do you think about this match and Tony D and NXT in general?
I love this match. I am glad that it was just this match because when Oba came out and they had Rich was like, "Oh, I want to face you for the NXT title," it was just like, "No, no, don't do that. No, please don't do that." So and then Tony D was, and so then like this was like last week, and then like just him and Tony D just scrapple. I'm like, yes, just do that. Where it's like yes, right now let's let Ridge versus Tony D. I'm glad with it. The match was good, even though we talk a lot about Tony D's in ring work. No, we talk about Tony D's character. His in ring work is solid. Like he's a really good wrestler. So I did love that. So who old girl who came out and helped them? I don't know who she is.
That's Izzy Dane. That's the girl that Sean Spears has been trying to recruit to his faction that keeps saying no.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not
Cause
I'm
like,
not 100% sure why she's here helping Tony D,
yeah,
but that's what happened, I guess. So we'll see how that ultimately plays out. But that's the girl that Sean Spears has been trying to recruit in the back for a while. She's a member of the women's, roster, and but doesn't get a whole lot of. She definitely doesn't get matches very often, and she's not
okay,
on TV a lot. The only time she's really been on TV is in the backstage segment with Sean Spears. So,
right,
and for me personally, like you said, if we're just digressing a little bit because we're not really talking about Sean Spears at the moment, but if you're Sean Spears and you're trying to recruit people, at some point somebody's got to say yes. And Izzy Dane, who's someone that is like doesn't have anything going on for her and really could benefit from being with a group of people that are
right,
actually on TV, and she's saying no, it's like the whole thing is weird. So, but that's who she is. So she's just kind of
okay,
like a mid-level, low-level talent that's been floating around. I don't understand why she's necessarily here to help Tony D, but
right. In my mind, if y'all want to really write it, let her infiltrate the family for Sean Spears and take him down. Let him take the championship. That would be a good story if you write it out. That'll be a lot, but if you want to do that, that's fine. But interesting enough, all right. Like I said, Sean Spears came out and like yeah. So I want, like you said, if you're gonna keep Tony D here, you need to let him have a program. So if that's the program, I wouldn't mind that. And main roster ready, like you said, it's just a matter of where to put him. And like you said, even though he's a great character, his character is really thick. It's like it really is like, how does this mesh well with Raw or SmackDown? And it's like, but the flip side of it is he's on NXT and he's not really like, yeah, one or two segments, but he's not really, what you call it, it's not interfering with the matches. So I'm not saying it's not possible. It's a matter of working that out just a little bit.
Like I was saying, that Tony D's ready, but Stacks and Luca and Rizzo are not, and you can't have Tony D. This role doesn't work alone. He's got to have henchmen, and I guess if you're only bringing those three up to just do nothing but be henchmen, then that's fine. But like, they shouldn't be wrestling at this point. I mean, they're okay for NXT and to have matches on NXT like they did this week against TNT, I think it is. We'll get to that, but at the same time, they don't need to be on the main roster. And he, the Don Godfather thing only really works with people behind him. So we'll
Yeah.
have to see. But right now, he's still the North American champion, and I thought it was a solid match. Thankfully, Rich Holland did not get the win.
Yeah.
Wesley. Wesley is with TNT, Tyson and Tyreek, which is
All
interesting.
right.
I like that. I like the three of
Yeah.
them together.
Right.
He walks up and says it's funny how he walked up on Oba and said he could beat him. Or no, yeah, he tells Dion. Sorry, he tells Dion Lennox that it was funny how he could walk up on Oba and tell him he was going to beat him. He says he has potential and Dion doesn't. Wesley says he'll see him tonight. And then he starts to mock Trick, and Trick walks in and has one of the best segments of the night and slaps the shit out of Wesley. I mean, you'll see later he left a handprint on Wesley's face. So, what do you think of this little segment? What do you think of Wesley with TNT and the new heel Wesley? Not that this is necessarily his first moment as a heel, but just kind of the new overall remade heel Wesley.
Oh, like so. I do like him with TNT. We're saying it so many times. It's like, okay, even though Dead Parker's a single wrestler, why can't she be with the group? Because they're cool, but it does feel like they need a person to talk, a manager like person. So if this gonna be Wesley, I'm here for that. I'm here for that. Let's go. And like this, like you said, this. But so what's his baby's name? Lennox. So
Dion Lennox, yeah.
this is my first time looking at him, and I'm just off the bat. I'm like, is he related to Carmelo Hayes? It feels like this is what Carmelo Hayes looks like if he was a nerd. And I was like, that was kind of, I'm like, that was interesting.
Well, you see him a few times because he was involved. He was the one that was involved with that little triangle with Ashante the Adonis. He had that match with Ashante, and he was the one that two of them were backstage with all the girls. So they had that little rival. So you have seen him before, but obviously he didn't catch your. It wasn't memorable enough to catch your eyes. So.
Like, you see how less stupid you look with all that stupidness around you? Like, oh, okay, you're a nerd, but you're actually better. Okay. So yes, good on you. Get away from that foolishness. Let's go.
Back from break, and Bailey has arrived. She says she is home. And she says she talked to Roxy last week because she cares about her and about the division, but it just got her a slap in the face. She says Roxy said she was acting like a little punk. And what? But that's a compliment. Oh, and was acting like Punk and Natty. But that's a compliment because people like Natty gave back to her. She didn't have to come back to NXT. She felt like NXT. Oh, she didn't come back because she felt like NXT owed her anything. She came to get rid of the entitled idiots like Roxanne Perez. And then here comes Julia. And Julia comes out and she says, coming from Japan and seeing Bailey, she wanted to be in NXT. Roxy may not look up to Bailey, but Julia does. She hopes to hold the title with as much love and honor for NXT as Bailey did. Bailey says that means a lot, and they have a lot of respect for Julia. They happy to see that Roxy beat Julia. And then here is Roxy with Cora Jade. And ultimately they climb in the ring, and these four women go back and forth. And they have their little thing to do. And then ultimately Bailey and Julia attack Roxy and Cora Jade. And it is on. Bailey and Roxy escapes Julia, and Cora Jade escapes Bailey, and they're on the outside, and it seems like we're going to have a tag team match between these four women in the near future. What do you think of this? Bailey and Julia together, and Cora Jade and Roxy. Obviously, we've seen Cora Jade and Roxy together. We want to see a tag team match between these guys. What do you think of all this?
Let's go. So, no offense to Corey J, but Roxanne needs a better tag team partner. Like, no offense to Corey J, but I'm into this. But Corey J is not on this level, unfortunately. But story wise, she's Roxanne's former friend. Unless you're like, if you still call her a friend, you stupid, because you ain't gonna do that to me, and we still cool like that. But as long as we know we ain't here no more. But yeah, I loved all of this, and so the speech that Bailey gave, it feels like she's gonna be here for longer than a second. And I'm pretty like it felt in my mind they might try to stretch this out until WrestleMania. Like, I think they're probably like, this is probably the takeover match, Harry versus Roxanne, which I'm here for. And if you're going to like stretch it out, might as well get us her and Julia versus Roxanne and Cora. If you want to give us Bailey versus Julia, that's cool too. It's like it's a lot. If we're gonna have Bailey here, let's have some fun with Bailey. So I'm here for all of this. Yes. That's it.
I was muted. They had that, and then backstage, Jada's backstage happy that Bailey mentioned her. Kalani said she mentioned her too. Those two kind of start yelling at each other. Carmen says it doesn't matter because love is in the air, and she finally got her kiss from Ashanti D. Adonis, and she's on cloud nine. That turns into a little shoving match, and then you see these four women are still fighting again. Cora Jade and the aforementioned Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Bailey. So they continue fighting, blah, blah, blah. Ava comes to try to maintain some order, and Dion Lennox ultimately ends up walking through the fray, going to the ring for his match with Wesley, which is our next segment. We get Wesley in what is basically a squash match. And Wesley gets the win. I mean, Dion Lennox had a couple little moves, but I mean, the match was like 2 minutes and 20 seconds, it says here. So I didn't time it. I'm reading these notes here. So there couldn't have been a whole lot of offense from Dion Lennox. I mean, I remember watching it, and it
was a
definitely
couple of
was a Wesley
surprise
squash
moves.
match. No doubt. What the biggest thing that I did notice was that Wesley did seem to still have, and I'm sure it's all makeup, but the fingerprints from Trick's slap on the side of his face to imply how hard Trick slapped him, and that there's going to be more there between Wesley and Trick in the future. Anything you want to say about this little squash match here with Wesley and Dion Lewis or Dion Lennox?
So, like I said, Wesley should be winning this. There should be no denying that he won this, right? They're on two different levels at this time. I did love the little sprints of a little shoulder tackle, a little spine buster, but like all you need to do with the mo before we can actually say you can defeat Wesley. Oh, that's it. And then so full disclosure, I missed the slap. So when they showed the print, so when they showed Wesley's face, I'm like, hold up. Wait, I thought in the match he got hit. Like, is that a black guy happening? I thought that was happening. I thought that was going on. But like you said, Wesley won. He should have won. It was a good match though.
Yeah. Next, post match, Wesley gets a mic and says, so much for championship material, talking about Dion Lennox. He says he's going to take care of Trick next week, and then here comes Trick. Trick lays out Tyson, and Tyree gets in the ring, sends Wesley out to the floor, and he says if Wesley wants him, next week in Atlanta, it's on and cracking. So next week we're going to get Wesley versus Trick Williams in Atlanta, which should be a fun match for next week's NXT. I'm excited for that. I think it should be really good on paper.
On paper, in the ring, Wesley is that kind of wrestler where he's going to make it work. So I am very much excited. And if we're going to, like I said, unlike Raw and SmackDown, I feel like NXT already knows what their takeover for Mania is going to be. It's probably going to be Obo versus what's his name, Trick Williams one more time. So if y'all want to do a program with him and Wesley before that, I'm here for all of that. I'm definitely here for all of that.
Me as well. Let's see. We had Lexus King, where he says he told us he could do it. He didn't put his best foot forward at first, but he's turned it around and proven he's not his father's son. He doesn't need shortcuts to win. He won the cup by DQ from Regal, and then he wants to win. He wants to retain it in a regular match. Dempsey says King's name on the cup is a disgrace, and that his cheap shot, when King says his cheap shot was an accident, he won't win them all over at once, but bit by bit. And this is leading to Dempsey versus King's match later tonight for the Heritage Cup. Anything about this little backstage segment here?
It was cute. I like the little video. Like, again, like not sure when you're supposed to separate these two, but I don't see y'all having them fight anyone else, and it's gonna be a good program. So it's like, yes, when our match is cool, and like, yeah, and like the whole "I'm not my father's," all that good stuff. Like, all right, fine, but yeah, this is a nice little video package for their match.
Let's see. Sarah's backstage. She says that the family will battle Sean Spears' goons tonight. So we're looking forward to that coming up later. Stephanie's there. And she talks about losing last week. She says she's not going to stop because Fallon wants to play with her opportunity and Shotzi benefited. She said if Shotzi wins the title, she'll beat the hell out of her. And Fallon can't run and hide if she has the title. So Stephanie basically says, I will be the next North American Women's Championship, whether it's Shotzi or Fallon that I have to beat. What do you think of this little promo? And do you think Stephanie ends up being the next North American champion?
Oh, no, that's going to happen. It's just going to matter. It really is a matter of when. More so, do you think Shotzi's not going to beat Fallon? So it really matters to prolong again. Take over WrestleMania. That card's going to be tasty. But as of right now, we are having some good matches too. So I am excited about Shotzi versus Fallon. That's actually going to be a little bit fun.
I personally would like to see Shotzi beat Fallon Henley. Although the only issue that I have with that is that if she's only going to have it until her match with Stephanie and then lose it to Stephanie, you know, it feels kind of hot potatoed. But
traditional.
I still, even though we don't see Shotzi a whole lot, I still feel like there's, like I say all the time, there's levels, and I feel like Shotzi's on a different level than Fallon Henley. I feel like Shotzi should be beating Fallon Henley. And I feel like Stephanie and Shotzi are a little bit closer levels than Fallon and Stephanie. So I think the match for the belt between Shotzi and Stephanie would be better than the match for the belt between Fallon and Stephanie. But again, I mean, I really only kind of want them to put the belt on Shotzi if she's going to have it for a minute, and then how long are you going to wait for Stephanie to have it? So not very long. Yeah. So if you're, like I said, if it's just going to be Shotzi beats Fallon and then, 2 weeks later Stephanie beats Shotzi, that I'm not here for. Might as well just leave it on Fallon and let Stephanie beat Fallon. But if you're going to let Shotzi have it for a month or two, which I don't see that happening, then I'm not necessarily opposed to Shotzi beating Fallon Henley. I mean, I'm not a big Fallon Henley fan, and I like Shotzi Blackheart. So, given those two choices, I'd much rather see Shotzi with the title than Fallon. But it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you on that. And I was just thinking, if you want to do a triple threat at TakeOver Mania, I don't mad at that either.
That would work too. I think a triple threat would work too. And then you could have, if your goal is to protect Fallon and for some reason, whatever, you could do that by having her lose her title, one of the other women getting pinned or whatever. So, I mean, I guess it could be interesting. Let's see. Next, we had the Heritage Cup match between Charlie Dempsey and Lexus King. This was your traditional Heritage Cup match with the rounds. Round 1 went 0-0. Round 2 went 0-0. Round 3, it was finally 1-0. Lexus King. Then Charlie Dempsey got a pin. Round 4 it was 1-1. And then Dempsey Went for the roll up, grabbed Dempsey grabs and Lexus kicks out. Dempsey grabs the ref. Oh no, I'm sorry. Grabs King and the ref is caught in the corner, and there was a low blow and a coronation, and Lexus King retains the Heritage Cup title. So a little bit of Lexus said he was going to do it right, but then there was low blows. So now we've got a couple little issues. Last week we had last time we had the foreign object that he said he didn't mean to use, and now this time we got the low blows. So needless to say, Lexus King gets a win and holds on to the Heritage Cup. What do you think of this match? What do you think of Lexus King saying he wasn't going to be that guy, and yet he's still kind of doing it?
So this is a very unique match. Well, I'm actually happy that they're doing right. I'm glad that this is hopefully the last time they're doing this between him and what's his name, William Regal's son. Sorry, but more so with the low blow is more. I guess it's more of a, do you want to be a good guy or a bad guy? And I think Lexus King has a more groove as being a bad guy. So if you think that you're better than the bad guy, have that do what you gotta do. So him being a heel Heritage Cup champion, I'm here for that. That could be fun. That could be fun, and that probably gives us more stories and challengers because now a lot it's a lot more baby faces to go against instead of heels.
Agreed. Bianca and Naomi are backstage saying that Lash and Jakara are bringing the size and athleticism, but Naomi says no one does that better than them. Bianca tells them to bring it if they want to win next week. We get Bianca and Naomi versus Lash and Jakara next week, which should be a lot of fun. I obviously we talk about levels, and Jakara and Lash are developing, and I don't think they really have any business beating Bianca and Naomi right now, but it's still a great opportunity for them to grow, be in the ring with two, of the best women wrestlers on the planet at the moment. And it's a, growing opportunity and experience. And it's great for them just to get the rub from being in the ring with those two. And it's great for NXT to have Bianca and Naomi, on the show. So I'm looking forward to it. I think they'll end up having a good match. Bianca and Naomi don't have bad matches. So, in that regard, I'm here for that. And I think that they're going to do, not that Jakara and Lash need it, but I think they'll do a very good job of making them look very good. So.
I agree with all that. Yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be a really, really fun match.
Hank and Tank are with Andre Chase. And they're not mad at him for walking out a few weeks ago. Chase tells them to just break up because all great tag teams end up in heartache. Kalani walks by. Chase walks over to where guys are watching old Chase U videos. KL Dixon says he's a total badass. Chase says he was one once and that Chase U is dead now. And Dixon says, but it doesn't have to be. So, in your mind, is there any chance they're going to revive Chase U? God, I sure hope not with other guys. I mean, I don't know what Andre Chase is going to do, but I sure hope it's not another iteration of Chase U. What do you want to see?
So here's the thing, right? When he put Chase U on the line to go for the NXT championship, I think we're all like, huh? Because more so it's like, if without Chase U, what do any of these guys do? More so Andre Chase. Now, I don't want this to be like, oh, we're going to do Chase U again. I do want it to be a little different. Not sure what a little different means, but yeah, it's like, instead of a university, a community college, maybe, or a charter school, like something a little bit different. And they're not a comedy act per se, but something like that would be very, very okay, that was stupid. I'm entertained. Let's go for it. So yeah, I am interested in them having a faction again because, like I said, them by themselves. Not sure why y'all thought that was a good thing, but yeah, there has to be a little bit of difference between that and Chase U.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, because it's a developmental show and you have a lot of people that want to learn and need to learn, a situation like Chase U, where you can have multiple people in a faction and do things like that,
Yes.
it gets them on TV, it gets them some reps, it gets them some time. Yeah, I have no idea, and not that I ultimately care, but what happens to Riley Osborne, what happens to Thea Hale, what happens to those guys that were there with Andre Chase for Chase U now that he's gone. Before that, they weren't really doing anything, and it'll be very interesting to see if they get any kind of push or ground to do anything afterwards. For me, honestly, Andre Chase was always probably my least favorite member of Chase U, just because he just doesn't really move the needle for me, so I don't really care a whole lot
Yeah.
about what he does. But I do think for a show like NXT, where it's developmental and you're trying to get people time, factions work well, and the
Yeah.
Chase U, in theory, worked well to get people exposure. So I don't want to see Chase U 2, Chase U 2.0. I guess Chase U Community College could be kind of fun. But yeah, they should do something. They need to do something to get these people more time on TV, especially if these are the ones that you want to develop. So
Yeah.
we had Carmen Petrovich versus Jada Parker. I was extremely disappointed in this. I understand that it's because of Kalani Jordan showing up on the apron and distracting Jada Parker
Yeah.
that Carmen Petrovich gets the stupid roll up for the pin. Here we go again, though, with the roll up where I thought it had only been a 5 minute match, and Jada Parker still had a lot of life left in her, and that distraction from Kalani Jordan shouldn't be enough to get pinned for three in that kind of a roll up, especially not to a Carmen Petrovich. I was disappointed that Carmen got the win because Jada's been doing so good, and I think that Jada has a very, very bright future. I understand that it's Kalani versus Jaden or Jada, and that's the feud that we're dealing with, and that's what's going on. Carmen's just the third little wheel here. That being said, I still thought Jada should have gotten the win instead and looked strong and maybe staring down Kalani. And that would have been more interesting for me. So, what do you think of this match? What do you think of Carmen getting the win here?
Like, so I'm a little bit of a different mind. With Kalani, we know she's good in the ring, but personality wise, we're still working at it. Now, these past 2 or 3 weeks, I think she's been making some leaps and bounds. We're like, all right, let's see it, let's go. So her in a feud with Jada, I think that's going to help her significantly. Now, with Carmen, I'll say this, even though I don't like that she's a lovey-dovey person with Adonis, because I think I was telling Sammy this when they were doing the women's breakout challenge. She was probably only one people that I'm like, oh snap, she's actually different. She actually has promise with her with the samurai sword and everything. So I do want more for her. Not beat Jada Parker and become the American champion, but I do want more for her. So hopefully, like this will be the start. I'm not mad that this was probably the start of them giving her a little bit more. Um, and like I said, with Kalani being the reason why Jada lost, I'm like, okay, a little bit more fire. So I actually don't mind that. Where it's like, and then all in all, like you said, this is going to lead us to a program of Kalani versus Jada. I'm not mad at that at all. I am very much happy for that. And if this had to be because the reason why I think Jada should have lost, because in the backstage segment, she was still avoiding Kalani. She wasn't even on her radar. So it's just like this was probably Kalani was like, oh, you're gonna notice me. And like I don't think she would have noticed Kalani if she had won. So at least the win had a purpose. And Jada with Kalani, yeah, give me that, yes please. That's gonna be hella fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kalani versus Jada should be fun. Lash
Yeah,
and Jakara are talking about what Bianca and Naomi said, and then Sol and Zarya show up, ask them if they know how big their match is next week. Zol and Zarya tell them that they can bring the titles back to NXT. And Lash says it's the biggest match of their lives, of their career. It's in their hometown, and they're about to step in the ring with the world champion. Jakara says, even though they're two of the best, they're going to win. They're going to win. And when they do, The NXT women get the shot at the title. And Tatum and Gigi come in and say they better bring the titles to NXT. What do you think of this little backseat checking between all these women in response kind of to Bianca and Naomi from earlier?
I love it because he's like, with any championship match, you need some hype. So I love the love the little hype up, and it's like making it more important because I'm not because like in to naked eye, it's like, oh, this is gonna be a throwaway match. Like, no. This is somewhat a very, very important match, and we're gonna show up and show out. So I do love this little hype up of the match for next week. And side note, I do love that they remember the women's tag team championships can't go anywhere. So yes, let Naomi and Bianca go to all three brands.
Agreed. No, I like it. I like it, and there's quality wrestlers on all three brands, and make them defend against all three brands. I mean, yeah, I like it. So.
Yes.
Next, we get a match that they were building up earlier, which is Sean Spears Goons against the family Stacks and Crucifino. Ultimately, there's not a whole lot to say about this. Brooks and Jensen, Sean Spears Goons get the win here in under 5 minutes. It's fine. It's giving Jensen and Nico some momentum in the win. I thought they looked better. Stacks and Crucifino, are what they are. I think Stacks maybe a little bit better than Luca, but neither of them is destined for the main roster. Those guys are going to be lifetime NXTers, if not off somewhere else when Tony D moves on. I think neither of them really moves the whatchamacallit for me, nor do Nico or Brooks, honestly. Out of these two groups, the only ones I really care about are Sean Spears and Tony D. And beyond that, it is what it is. So this match was what it was. What did you think of it?
So it's a decent match. I love the fire. When it comes to the tag team championships or the tag team division, I do love little feuds like this. So I wasn't mad at it. Like, all right, decent time. Like, if you have time on the screen to give to someone, yeah, might as well hype up your tag team division. So, like you said, this was pretty good. And even though not sure if they're going to go with Stacks, if they're all together, I do believe that your people behind you have to be somewhat strong as well. So I was mad. I was glad that they got a win. Like, they don't have to be everybody, but they got to be somebody. So this was cool.
Further tag team division stuff. Sarah's with Fraxium. Mentions them being at Genesis in their title defense last week. Axiom says it was close, and Frazier says that they're the best tag team on the planet, and they'll prove it on Impact. And then Josh Briggs, and Inamura come out and say they're unhappy because they said they had next. Frazier asks, "Who have you ever beat?" And then here comes OTM immediately charging in to attack Briggs and Inamura. I'm definitely here for OTM versus Briggs and Inamura. I think it'll be a second time because I think they already faced him once. But if not, for the first time, but I'm pretty sure it's the second time. And I like both these teams. I like OTM. I like Briggs and Inamura. And I think that the tag team division is heating up. It's doing well. What do you think of this little segment?
No added thoughts. I'm like all this.
Let's see. We get a recap of Ethan Page injuring Dante Chen, and that he was riding high. Says he didn't want to do that, and he was riding high after his moment with The Rock. But Dante wanted to stand on moral high ground, and now he can't stand at all. And then, let's see, he didn't think he'd be doing much, just like said, oh, well, let's see. What did he say here? He doesn't think Dante will be doing much, just like Cedric and Javon. Page says Javon must never, ever want to speak normally again after his attack last week, in which case Page was able to put him back down again. And that Page says this is Evan's last warning. Next time he will not stop. Before you want me to tell about Javon's little promo next, you want to talk about it? Okay. So Javon's with Ava and says he wants Ethan Page. Ava says his jaw is still broken and he's anything but cleared. But Cedric is. And Cedric says he'll get even for both of them next week. So we first
Oh.
get whatchamacallit, Ethan Page and his little promo, and then kind of the counter. What do you think of both of these? And are you excited for Ethan Page and Cedric next week?
So I am excited. Anytime Cedric is on my television, I'm excited for that. So him versus Ethan Page, let's go. He's one of those. He is a wrestler where it's like it's gonna be fun no matter what, right? So Ethan on this crazy ride, we can't like what we. I just reiterate what I said last week. Like him as a heel, like him as a psychopath. Not sure where it leads exactly, but right now I'm here for it. I am more so. I guess the real question for me is when do we let what's the little boy's name? I know. What's the little boy name? That his jaw is wired.
Javon Evans.
Javon Evans. It's like more so with me. I want to know when does he finally wrestle? Like I love what they're doing because it's like, yes, your jaw's wired shut. You shouldn't just be going in and just randomly doing a match. But it is like, again, see, I'm more. I think they have all these matches scheduled for Takeover Mania. If that's the plan, okay, fine. I guess we can wait 2 more months for Javon versus Ethan in April. All right, I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. But yeah, but Cedric versus Ethan, that is going to be fun. I'm here for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they can kind of probably even though it's dragging it out because they've done the whole broken jaw thing and Javon needs time to heal. I think
Yeah,
that probably stretches them to WrestleMania, like you were talking about. I think that's how they're gonna get that's how they get that stretch. But yeah, I mean, Javon Evans versus Ethan Page at WrestleMania's takedown should be really good. So or
yeah.
whatever they're going to call it. Let's see. They leave Austin Theory and Grayson Waller walk in. Theory says he likes Ava more than The Rock, and Ava says he likes Ava more than The Rock. Waller
Right.
says the winner of tonight's NXT title match will be on the Waller Effect next week. Waller says they'll be here watching wrestling history because they love wrestling. And I guess they're going to be around NXT for a minute. I mean, they didn't really make that clear, but as far as I'm concerned, like I think they've been on SmackDown because I don't see them really on Raw, and so I'm here for them on NXT. I think NXT is a better spot for them. Honestly, I really wish these two would just break up already. It feels like it's very long in the tooth that these two have been together, and I want so much more for Austin Theory. Like the future was so bright when he came in. Vince
I know
absolutely
you
loved the guy,
do.
and then it feels like they've dropped the ball to a certain extent and really cooled him down. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for him being warmed back up again. I don't really care at all about Grayson Waller, but I'm a huge Austin Theory fan, so do something more with him. But even if we get Austin Theory and Grayson Waller on NXT where I can see him, I'm happy with that. Do they get a lot of play on SmackDown? I mean, I know that they've been around, but do they get a lot of action or no?
So they're just the mainstay behind the scenes. Where it's like they're the funny duo. They're having a good old time. As of right now for SmackDown, the tag team division is a little bit harder. So it's like, where do we insert you guys on SmackDown? They said they are moving to Raw, so that shakeup should be good for them. But them being on NXT, in my mind, this is what I want. I want them to be the old people who are trying to relive their glory days. That's what I want for them on NXT. I want them to be like, oh, remember when we used to? And then someone finally says, dude, y'all actually suck. And like, I want that story for them in NXT because nothing is more stupider than the 20-year-old going back to high school because right now your life sucks. I want that. I want that story for them. That would be hilarious.
All right, so we get a rundown of next week's show: Naomi and Bianca versus Lash and Jakara for the tag team title match. Julia and Bailey versus Roxy and Cora Jade. Wesley versus Trick Williams. The Grayson Waller effect will be on with Oba or Eddie, whoever gets the win in the main event match. and then we will get a North American title match between Fallon Henley and Shotzi Blackheart. So next week on paper should be another solid week of NXT. And then we are at the main event match, which is the NXT Men's Championship title match between Oba Femi and Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe has been doing his very best to get this match. He wanted it against Trick Williams, he wanted it against Trick Williams. Oba ended up beating Trick and he winning the title. Now he's been trying to get it against Oba Femi, and he finally gets his opportunity here. I don't think there was anybody anywhere that really thought that Eddie was going to win or beat Oba. I don't
Yeah,
think anybody's going to be
yeah.
beating Oba for quite a while. But that being said, I did think this match came off better than I expected it to. I thought Eddie looked good, which I think is both it's a statement on how good a wrestler Eddie Thorpe actually is, and at how good Obafemi is in selling, even at a young age, and even this early in his career. Because I thought the match came off really good. You do have a really big man versus, not that Eddie's small, but compared to Oba, everybody's small. So there is definitely kind of
Yes.
that big man, little man kind of conflict that I often talk about that doesn't always work great.
Hmm.
But I thought that they did a good job here. Oba sold well, and Eddie Thorpe is big and strong enough that building up offense against Oba, it can play that way. So you can definitely Eddie can hurt him. So in that regard, I thought that it worked well. Oba did get the win over a little over 10 minutes, but very solid main event match. Obafemi is destined for the main roster and for superstardom 100%. And the jury's still out for me on Eddie Thorpe. You know, as Carl Fredericks in New Japan, I think he was better. And for me, I almost would rather him go back to New Japan just because I don't think he's getting kind of the proper push or love in NXT. But that being said, I'm not the biggest Eddie Thorpe fan in NXT. So I don't know if that's his fault. I don't know if that's the booking. I don't know if that's the creative. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, I mean, Oba should have got the win here, and he did. Just real quick, after the match, he stares at Waller and Theory, who are watching, then turns around to see Trick. Eddie charges in, Trick hits him with a trick shot, and then Trick and Oba are standing face to face, and that's where we're left for the end of the show. What do you think of this for a main event match? What do you think of Oba getting the win and the little at the end with Eddie eating the trick shot and Trick and Oba facing off?
So, like I said, this was good. There are no surprises here. It's like, oh, he beat oh boy. Yeah, who thought he wasn't gonna beat oh boy? But like I said, for developing the show, it's sometimes not about beating him. It's a matter of you not looking like you suck. And Eddie Thorpe did it like he sucked. So I'm like, okay, good for you. Good for you, baby boy. Weirdly enough, uh Austin Theory and Grayson looking down at the match, that was kind of interesting. I'm not sure where exactly they're going to go with that, but I'm here for the ride. And of course, the stare down between him and Trick. We all know where this is going. I'm glad they're going that way. So keep build. Unlike SmackDown and Raw, y'all know what y'all takeover media is going to be. So keep building towards that. Good job, boo boo. HBK. Good job. Muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I thought this was a solid episode of NXT. I don't know. I had a really hard time deciding if I thought that it was better than Raw. I thought it was basically kind of on the same level. I mean, I'm tempted to give it a
Right?
B as
Yeah.
well. Honestly, I think both Raw and NXT were basically on the same level this week. So I think I'm going to give NXT a B as well. So I give Raw a B, and I'm giving NXT a solid B as well.
Well,
Neither of
yeah.
them stood
Looking
out
back
against
at
each
it,
other, and I liked them, but I liked them both. But neither of them I thought was A quality either.
yeah. Like it's. I'm gonna say it's crazy, but there were looking back, there were no low points. We're just like, oh God, why are we doing this? No, no, no. It was like a very entertaining match. Nothing was there you go. Nothing was egregious. So I would have to agree with you. I want
So
to give it a
Raw
B
gets.
minus.
You're going with the B minus.
Wait, wait. No, I'm giving it a B. Yeah, I'm giving it a B.
All right, so me and Anika are in agreement. Monday Night Raw from both of us got a B. NXT from both of us got a B. So right now we got a tie between those two shows, but we're gonna crack into AEW Dynamite from this week, and usually Dynamite ends up on top, so we'll see. But
We'll see.
let's get to
In
it.
the minds of two people. All right, here we go. Yes.
Well, tonight there's only two, so
Yeah. So let's. Oh God, this is gonna be interesting. AEW Dynamite from January 22. Thank you for that. That's always helpful. We start off with a Kenny and Ospreay segment. Ospreay is out first, and he was like, "Look, we need to clear the air. Oh, baby, get your behind in here." Battle Cry is back. I'm very glad about that. It's like, this is your theme show. This is your theme show. I know you're in Japan doing stuff, but when you come out, I need to hear the Battle Cry. All right. So he comes out. There is someone in there facilitating. I don't care because you're not important. No offense. But Ospreay's like, okay, look, cards on the table. I need your help. As you can see, Moxley is taking over the place. I want to beat Moxley, but the Don Callis family is in the way, and we're better together than apart. So will you help me? Yes! People keep... We're talking about more about it at the end, but the people who are saying this Moxley story sucks, it's not his fault. The reason why it sucks is because no one is paying attention. It felt like a takeover, and then after 3 weeks, it's like, oh, it's just fine, and it's not his fault. So it's like I'm like, either way, right? But so I love Ospreay putting it together. Look, I want to beat Moxley so we can free the AEW division, but I can't do it with the Don Callis family is in the way. Now, these two are professionals because it's like, come on, so. Omega comes back with, really, bruh, why do you think I should trust you? He's like, you not remember the last time you were in here. You was jamming a screwdriver in my head because you wanted to prove that you were number one. It's like, yes, yeah, Ospreay. So you act like you don't remember that. Come on, bruh. That was a very bloody match. It's probably 75% of people's match of the year from 2023, 2024, 2023. Dang, time flies by. But yeah, that was probably everyone's favorite match of that year. So he's like, why would I trust you? And then this is when Omega gets a little petty. He's like, you did all that to prove that you were number one. And even with that, it took me having Donticulitis for you to be number one and people to remember you. But now I'm back. And you'll be a very, very good number two. It's like, look here, bro. You saying that you have to be diseased for Ospreay number one? That's a very far stretch. That's a stretch, bro. Ospreay's like, you little prick. I was like, look, let's not get it twisted. I won't move you behind. That's what I felt like Ospreay energy was when he came to say that. So they're face to face. Here comes Don Callis, the stupid foolishness. And I love that it's on site. And so he comes out. I think he got 2 sentences in. He's like, well, Takeshita and Fletcher. Oh, and so here Ospreay's like, no, I don't think you understand, sir, that when I see you, I'm going to beat you behind. So Ospreay sprints up the ramp, starts beating up on Don Callis. But of course, here comes Takeshita. Here comes the Don Callis family. And I love Ospreay. He's like, oh, now you want my help. Why should I help you? You was just calling me number two. You was just saying all this stuff. And so the long wait to help him, I love that. And then he saw Fletcher's like, all right, fine, I'm going to help you. So the brawl ensues. And the brawl's in the ring. Then the brawl's out of the ring. Then the brawl's in the audience. Bruh, I was so mad at the camera work because evidently Lance Archer threw Ospreay down the stairs. I want to see that. It's like the cameraman was just running, and then we just saw Ospreay down the stairs and Lance Archer on top of the stairs. It's like I guess we gotta put 2 and 2 together ourselves, but I'm pretty sure he threw them. All right, cool, bet. And then finally, Ospreay and Omega are on the same page. They suit because Land Charger is a big boy, so it can't be just one person to defeat him. They suplex him into one of the merchandise tables. That was awesome. And they're like, all right. So like they look around the crowd. They're like, okay, we're together. We're on the same page. We're on the same page. Let's do something on the same pagey. Let's go. Let's climb up these. I wish my dad was here. Trifolds, and then let's do moonsaults over these trifolds. Y'all are old. Why are y'all not old, but y'all haven't. When the last time y'all done this? I'm pretty sure it's been a minute for both of y'all, but it was cool nonetheless. So they take out the Don Callis family. They climb another trifold. Ospreay's like, listen, you try to apologize to me, I'm gonna apologize to you. I should have always trusted you. No, you shouldn't have. Because all your reasons were valid. You were being a little petty when it came to talking about who's number one. But no, your reasons were valid for not trusting Ospreay. But I get it. We ain't got time to what's the word? We ain't got time to do a full-on story because Australia's in 2 weeks. So we're coming together now, and we're going to do a tag match against the Dalchouse family in Australia. What do you say, bruv? And so they try to play my best music like, no, I did my tagline. So I do, mwah, goodbye, bang. All right, play the music. I'm afraid of heights. This was all good. This was all good. This was all hyped up. This was all amazing. Yes, the nitpick is there should have been maybe 2 more weeks of trying to gain each other's trust. We ain't got time for that. Like I said, the Australia's in February. And February is literally 2 weeks away. So yes, let's get this going. Let's get this party started. But great opening, Dynamite. Any thoughts?
Yeah, real quick. Fernando says this was an excellent segment between Kenny and Will. I agree. Thanks for joining us, Fernando, being here. We appreciate it. Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed it. Kenny and Ospreay are 2 of the best on the planet. I'm here for basically anything they do. I can't tell you how happy I am to see Kenny back in AEW, and especially healthy and over his diverticulitis. I'm glad that everything's okay. Him and Ospreay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So it makes sense that the 2 of them together against the Callis family, they have enough motivation there. I'm here for it. It should be amazing in 2 weeks. I thought this all came off very well, and I thought they both had the right attitude. I thought Will trying to say, hey, let's put behind us or whatever, I'm sorry. And then Kenny being like, no, fuck you. And then Will Ospreay being like, well, fuck you too. But ultimately still having to coexist because the Callis family wants to destroy both of them. So, it is a trope that's played out a lot as far as can they coexist, will they, whatever. But at the same time, I'm here for it. I think this is fun. And it includes some of the best wrestlers on the planet. So I don't know how you can go wrong.
Facts to all of that. All right, we get a mini little bastard Pac promo because it will be Pac versus Adam Copeland for the main event of this AEW Dynamite. I am here for that. That will be very good. Then we get a backstage segment with Moxley, and it's a very classic Moxley promo where he's gonna pontificate just a little bit. He's gonna add the main thing in there, but you have to really pay attention because there's going to be a lot of stuff. So basically, he's talking about Adam Copeland. He's like, look, basically, you're a pest. We got better things to do. We have hard work to do. So basically, when I beat you at Australia, I won't care. I won't shed a tear, and I won't lose a wink of sleep. Dang it. All right, cool, bet. You want to say anything about this? Oh, yeah, a side note. Where you to? Cut your bangs, baby. I'm not sure what look you go on phone, but me not looking at me. I'm not sure what you're going for with this character, but me, now, cut that. Just cut that. That's all I'm going to say. All right, anything to say about this segment?
Not really. No, I mean, it is what it is, and yeah.
Yep. So hype up the match until the match happens. All right, and then we get our first match, AEW Tag Team match, the Hurt Syndicate versus Private Party. Okay, I'm gonna get through it, and then I'm gonna have my thoughts. So, uh, they set this up, and Hurt Syndicate comes out, Private Party comes out. You knew they were losing because they had one song playing. CM said this, and I totally agree. And then they had their original old song playing. I was like, so y'all gonna mess up this song? They're gonna mess up your theme song? Dad, can y'all at least come out strong as a champion? Like, this is stupid. Basically, this was, I don't say it was a squash match, but Private Party did not get any defense in. They got 20% defense in of this segment. Private Party was trying to go back crack crazy, but it was not working because you had two big strong boys. Like they were trying to do what's his name? Duo tope suicidas and then one over the top rope. Lashley and Shelton just picked him up, just caught him, and then body slammed him. And it's just like, and everybody was just hyped up like to the gods for freaking Hurt Syndicate. I love the MVP was trying to put over Private Party during this on commentary. Like, look, I respect these men. They are good wrestlers, but we gotta beat them for the belts. And it's like, do you respect them? It gave the feeling that when Lashley beat Big E for the championship, and Paul Heyman got on the mic, he was trying to put over Big E. It felt like you can tell that MVP was he felt a little bad that they had to do it to Private Party, but nonetheless, we do want these titles. So, like I said, Hurt Syndicate was just running back crack crazy. Every time Private Party got some freaking offense, the crowd was booing. I'm like, hey, Dad, go on it. Can you get, like, you ain't gotta boo them. Like, you don't have to cheer them, but do you have to boo them? Like, they aren't the heels in this scenario. All in all, like I said, it was at the end, Shelton did suplexes like it was Suplex City. Bobby Lashley did a spear. 1, 2, 3. We have new AEW Tag Team Champions. Look, I'm not mad at Hurt Syndicate. I'm mad at how they treated Private Party. That's my. It's like y'all real life couldn't done a little bit better. Like just a little bit better. And then the crowd, I'm like, y'all are not helping. You just like, how do you boo? Like, why are y'all booing Private Party? I mean, Dad, I don't think they're gonna win, but you ain't got throw salt into the wounds. But it is what it is. The tag team division did need a bigger jolt. So Hurt Syndicate winning hopefully will help the tag team division. I have to say this because all right, I'm just say it. We had Swerve in Our Glory. We had the Acclaim. Now we have Private Party. I think that Hurt Syndicate is going to do better. But please make sure you do better. Because, no offense, if out of those three, all of those reigns, it felt like it was a big moment, but you didn't do nothing with the reign. And hopefully they'll do different. They'll be different with Hurt Syndicate, where I want the reign to be just as good as the actual winning of the championships. All right, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I liked it. I think it was predictable. Unfortunately, the Hurt business or the Hurt Syndicate, they've been pushing them hard and heavy. And even though Private Party is the tag team champion, it never felt like Tony Khan or AEW was really ever behind them per se like that, or really in support of them. It felt like, you know, I've got X amount of tag teams, and this is a solid tag team. And at some point, when as a tag team, they should have the belt. So we got to do it at some point. It kind of felt like that with the Acclaimed as well. I'm obviously disappointed that this is black on black violence, right? That you've got,
That's
black
Lil
a
Mac.
black
That's
team
Lil
taking
Mac.
out another black for all intents and purposes, right? I mean, it's so there's that, and I think that I want, I obviously want more for Private Party. At the same time, like, I don't think it's their fault, but they haven't really done anything to stand out either. And that's either booking or, creative, all that stuff, whatever it is. But they haven't really
Yeah.
been able to separate themselves. I think the Acclaim even did a better job, and even them, they struggled a little bit. So, if it wasn't for, it would be very interesting to see what the Acclaimed would be if it wasn't for the Scissor Me stuff and if it wasn't for Billy Gunn.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can't really do that because it happened and it is what it is. We'll never know. But I'm just curious, would they be Private Party still to a certain extent? They have
Mm,
that. It feels like that's kind of what Private Party didn't have to a certain extent.
that one
And
little sprinkle of
yeah, or
special.
just something to make them stand out, something that really got them over. They haven't really been able to just get over. And I know that some of that is because Mark Quinn was gone in the very beginning, and I think when AEW really formed and Private Party joined the tag team division and came to life, there was a lot of potential and hype kind of behind him. And then Mark Quinn was gone for a long time, and Isaiah Cassidy. They had the whole debacle with Matt Hardy and the family, and Isaiah Cassidy's contract, and all that stuff that wasn't very good, and it didn't do a whole lot for Isaiah Cassidy either as a singles wrestler, or
Yeah.
to keep them kind of like on the up. So when Mark Quinn came back, Isaiah Cassidy, even though he was getting time as a singles wrestler, wasn't doing really anything and hadn't had the ability to raise his profile enough that it gets Mark Quinn the rub, and as a result, Private Party gets the rub. They did get the belt, so it is something, but it feels very, like they're just kind of a transitional championship or champion, or to just give them something to appease them, right? It's like, okay, they need something, so we'll give them the title, but we're not going to do anything with them. So, that being said, I hope they do more with the Hurt Syndicate with the belts. The belts deserve more. I mean, AEW has a phenomenal tag team division that
They
they
do. They do.
underutilize all the time, and so in that regard, I'm not the biggest Bobby Lashley fan. I'm a huge Cedric Alexander fan. I love
They're
MVP.
out. Phil Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin. I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Shelton Benjamin and
Yeah.
MVP. So in that regard, I do like the Hurt Syndicate. I think they need another guy or two. I almost think at this point, and I don't know how it would necessarily work out. And I know they just beat them, but I almost wouldn't be mad at Private Party joining the Hurt Syndicate at some point. Maybe I don't know how you get there from here per se, but they could benefit from something like that and being in a faction where they were on TV more, and especially a faction that's getting the push. So, and even though Lashley and Shelton are the tag team champions, Bobby Lashley's a singles wrestler. So it's only a matter of time until those belts go to somebody else that's a tag team, right? So if you have a tag team like Private Party that works in with the Hurt Syndicate, you have a natural tag team to either hold the belts if you want to give the belt all to the Hurt Syndicate, or to at least have the tag team matches while Bobby Lashley's off doing his single stuff, right? Because you don't want
Yeah.
MVP wrestling all the time, and if Bobby's doing single stuff, what is Shelton really going to be doing? He can do single stuff too, but I don't think that's where the emphasis is. So,
Yeah.
it'll be very interesting to see, but I hope that they do more with the belts on the Hurt business or on the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, MVP, look out. I know you're gonna make sure your boys are good. So I'll just leave it there. Alrighty. And so next we have we have a Mariah May video where she was like, really? I am probably the greatest AEW women's champion ever. And all you have for me is a woman who has serious brain damage. Ma'am, you're the one who caused the brain damage. I'm pretty sure it was your fault that she can't remember nothing because you freaking kept hitting her with a shoe. Either way, and so she was like, Mariah, and so she was like, Tony Storm, you rookie, I can't wait to meet you. So yeah, at Collision, they're gonna have a face-to-face Mariah May and Tony Storm, and then this transitions into a live segment with Renee Paquette and Tony Storm, and they're talking about what you call it? how do you feel about this face to face? She's like, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. And then here comes Harley Cameron to the side. She was just like, you know what? I'm mad that I not yet. But she was just like, I'm mad that I lost, but I'm glad that one Aussie is going to Australia for the pay per view. And so Tony was like, it didn't have to be one Aussie. She was like, what? She was like, yeah, you can be on the card too. And then they go into either a 2-minute dialect that Australia's language is English. I'm not sure what the freak these people were saying. I'm like, what? At some point in time, I stopped. I'm not sure when you stopped trying to figure it out, but I started figuring it out after that first line. I'm like, all right, they're talking to themselves. All right, cool. And then I want to say they both leave, and Renee Paquette says was all on our minds. I didn't understand any of that, but it sounded good. Any thoughts about all of this?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, Harley Cameron is funny. She's I'm starting to appreciate her more.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. I it worked well. I thought the whole thing worked well all the way around.
It did. And for the people who are like, we don't get American slang, is this how we make you feel? We're sorry. Next up, we have a backstage segment with Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett. Now, we all agree that last week's segment with Jarrett and MJF could have been done better. But for some reason, like for me, I don't need y'all to bring up how bad it was, right? Like just leave it in that week, move forward. But no, y'all want to revisit this. So Karen's like, Jeff, the things you said last week, getting in the mud with MJF, it reminded me of old times and I didn't like it. You're better than that, Jeff. And then Jeff's like, you don't worry about me. He kissed her basically to shut her up. And like, I don't worry, I'll handle it. I got this. Then he goes in a live segment to do an in-ring promo, and basically same thing. I got in the mud with MJF. I didn't like that I did that. They're in Tennessee, so he got a huge pop. He was like, I asked Tennessee's own Jerry the King Lawler for advice, and he was like, don't get in the mud with pigs when they try to drag you down with you. And I think we're all like, Jerry the King Lawler. No offense. There's nothing in his past that says that Jerry the King Lawler gives out advice and helps people. But hey, if that's what you said happened, fine. But he's like, so Jerry's like, you know what? I'm put it behind me. I wasn't trying to deal with MJF. I said I want to go for AEW World Championship. Moxley, get out here. So the Rider music comes out, and Jeff Jarrett's looking around. He gets blindsided by Claudio. Hey, Claudio. And so basically Claudio beats him up, and he was just like, before you get to Moxley, you have to go through me. Stay out of our business. Stay down. So he leaves through the crowd, and Jeff Jarrett's like, sir, you have to do more than that to get rid of me. And he's like, how about I propose this deal to you? If I beat you, I get a shot at Moxley. And so Claudio was like, me kicking you behind for 30 minutes and you don't get a shot? Sounds good to me. Bet. All right. Now, this segment was a little bit better. It is what it is. If we're going to do this Jeff Jarrett tour, we're going to let him go for the title. Fine. If he beats Claudio, I'm going to have some issues. I'm going to have some issues. I'm going to have some very, very big issues. There's nowhere on earth that Jeff Jarrett should be beating Claudio. Now, granted, we've seen dumber things happen where you let freaking Billy Gunn beat up Jay White. And it took Jay White with a bat to beat up Billy Gunn. So I'm not putting it out of the room possibility. But I'm telling y'all, if Jarrett beats Claudio, I'm turning it off. I don't care about the rest of the, I don't care about the rest of the show. I'm turning it off because that should not happen. I don't care if it's Jarrett Tour. That should not happen. Any thoughts?
It shouldn't happen, but it's going to because it's going to be Moxley versus. It's going to be Jeff Jarrett versus John Moxley for the title. So he's got to be.
I have a way out of that. We'll talk about it later. Go.
I think he's got to beat Claudio. Unfortunately, I mean he shouldn't be beating Claudio, but to be fair, at least it's. I mean, okay, at least it's Jeff Jarrett. Now I don't like Jeff Jarrett. I hate Jeff Jarrett. I've always hated Jeff Jarrett, but you can't argue, I guess, to some extent with the resume. The dude is a wrestling superstar. He's a legend, and to a certain extent, it's not Claudio losing to a jobber, right? So it is what it is. I mean, there are worse people Claudio could lose to, not in my mind, but in the scheme of things. And the match is really Moxley versus Jeff Jarrett. I don't know why that's the match they want, but that's the match they want. So he's got to beat Claudio. I don't like it, but he's got to beat Claudio, and I don't want him to beat. If he beats Moxley, then we've got this major issue. If Jeff Jarrett is AEW World Champion, we got a major issue. I don't know. I'm gonna have to reevaluate my thoughts on AEW at that point. But I don't think he's beating. I don't think he's beating John Moxley. I mean, I think he's gonna beat Claudio. I don't think he's beating John Moxley. I just wish Jeff Jarrett would go away in general. I don't want to see a last run. I don't need to. It feels. This Jeff Jarrett last run feels like the John Cena last run. You've already been gone for 15 years, 10 years. Why do we? You should have done this 10 years ago. Like, you haven't been relevant in a really long time, and it just doesn't make sense to me at this point. So, no, he shouldn't be beating Claudio, but I think he will. And as long as he loses to Moxley, I guess it is what it is. I mean, but.
To all of that. All right. Okay. Next up, we have we have Swerve versus AR Fox. Now, listen, I want more for AR Fox because okay, I get it. You didn't tell him that he couldn't go out the country. Doesn't mean you can't use. Like, I'm so sorry to finish off this a little bit. I was very intrigued when it was Swerve and AR Fox as a team. In my mind, for some reason, I wanted to be a thing. I wanted to pick up where they started. So in that segment, I did love AR Fox on my screen. This was a very good lucha match. If you want to see their beginnings, come watch our watch along on Tuesdays. I said it was good, very, very good back and forth. Because they know each other like a glove. Then here comes Ricochet with the scissors in his hands, trying to be a freaking nuisance. But Nana has a pipe and chases Ricochet out of the well, not out of the arena, but out of the ring, and some great near falls that were very much needed in this match. It's like, okay, cool, baby. But all in all, Swerve beats AR Fox as he should. At the end of the match, they have a little exchange of words, and they do the whole. They do the whole fist thing where it's like a power up fist collective. It's like, yes, because it feels like a couple of times Swerve needed some friends and he didn't have some. So not right now, but later on, if you need some more friends to call upon if you're in a jam, yes, AR Fox is there. Please use him. And so then we have Ricochet on the screen, and he's holding Nana hostage with scissors, and he's like, "I will cut you right now, but I'm gonna need you to deliver a message to Swerve. This might be your house, but I'm sorry, this was lame. He's like, but I'm the tenant, and the rent is due." And then Swerve tries to race to the back to help Nana. What do you think about all of this?
I'm not, I don't like Ricochet as a babyface. I'm not sure that Ricochet heel is working here so far either. I don't know that I like him with the scissors. Doesn't quite feel like Ricochet. I think you can be a heel without being that guy. And this doesn't feel quite like Ricochet. That being said, the match itself is great. I mean, anytime you get Swerve and AR Fox in the ring together, it's going to be gold. Both men are amazing. All three of these men are Lucha Underground veterans, right, or
Yes.
alumni. So
Yes.
this is a Lucha Underground reunion here with these three men. Unfortunately, AR Fox is the third wheel. This is really the Swerve Ricochet storyline, and AR Fox is just kind of there. That being said, at least AR Fox is on TV and appears to be back with AEW, at least for the moment, which makes me very happy. Anytime I get to see AR Fox on my TV, I'm extremely happy. I think he's an amazing wrestler and deserves a lot more than he's gotten in the past. So we'll see if he ends up getting more, but I'm definitely here for Swerve and Ricochet. Don't know again if I am all in on this extremely heel Ricochet, but at the moment, I guess it's somewhat working. I mean, it's working enough to where I'm ready to see Swerve beat Ricochet's ass. So in that regard,
Yes.
he's doing a good job of being a heel. So yeah, I mean, I'm here for it.
Yeah. And more so, I guess, like, the reason why the moment of him stabbing Swerve was good because it was that intensity. I think he used to bring that every time. Like when he was threatening Nana, it was like Nana looking at him like, "Boy, if you didn't have these skills, I would knock you behind now." And I'm telling you, Nana had his ass when he was doing it. That maybe that was just me, but yeah. All right, and then next we have a Jericho minute, and the learning tree was like, "Listen, we lost that collision." And we are very, very sad about that. Even though we beat, like, it's like we beat up Hobbs, so this should have worked, but it didn't, and we're frustrated. And of course, so Big Bill was trying to give this stupid words of encouragement. You have to grow with a tree in a planet by the river. I'm not sure what he said, but it was something that minute. And I like this part where it was no. To grow, you must learn from your mistakes. And so Jericho was like, "Have you grown? Have you grown?" Because, like, no offense, but so we lost, and you're not mad about that. What are you gonna do about that? And I love the change of vibe where Big Bill was like, "Oh, okay, step to the side. Let me address Hobbs. Listen, you might have beaten us, but you didn't beat me. We came face to face, and I still stand, and I still stood tall. So collision, I'm looking for your behind. All right, look. We all know how we feel about Jericho, learning tree, whatever. Will Hobbs versus Big Bill. I am into this. We do not want Will Hobbs to get sucked into a learning vortex. So let's do this. Let's just have Big Bill versus Will Hobbs, and that be the end of it. I don't need Hobbs versus Jericho. Just give me Big Bill versus Hobbs and end it. Will they do that? Probably not. But all in all, I am here for Big Bill versus Hobbs. Thoughts?
Obviously, if I don't, the more that Big Bill and Brian Keith have the camera and the microphone, the happier I am, the less I have to listen to Chris Jericho. So the fact that Big Bill was actually kind of front and center here for the promo and the more time, honestly, in this promo than Jericho did. I like that, and I thought Big Bill had a good promo. I'm here for Big Bill versus Hobbs. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for all of it, other than Chris Jericho. So
exactly. All right, and then we were going to have a match, nice little hometown kid or jobber kids in the ring, but MJF music hits. He goes to the ring. He says, "Baby, get out." He's like, "Look, I don't even know you like that, bro. You got to once." So the wrestler comes out the ring, and MJF does his segment, and he's again. We're going to address this not good segment from last week. It's like, "Sir, we don't have to bring this up, but evidently this is going to be a thing." So basically, he was like, "I demand an apology from Jeff Jarrett. How could you say these things to me, sir? Didn't you call his wife a hoe?" Basically, like, but that is the delusionalness of MDF that we all know and love. And then he was just like, "But you realize, think that you don't need my help. I'm going to prove to you that it's better to deal with the devil than angering it." Basically, so we're talking about Claudio versus Jarrett next week. I think that MJF is going to ruin Jarrett's chances. He's going to interfere with the match, and that's how Claudio wins. I'm here for that. Please do that. Please. Because, no offense, I don't think as of right now, we don't need a long behind segment, a long behind what you call it, program with Jarrett and MJF. So if y'all can just do this match in Australia and be done with it, good on you. So yeah, let that be the catalyst of the out doing the match in Australia, and that prolongs us having him versus Moxie. I'm here for all of this. Any thoughts?
Just that MJF is a quality promo all the time. I always
Me
love his
too. Me too.
promos, and he's always in his bag. That I mean, he's a solid wrestler, but definitely his best asset is his talking, and anytime he's on the mic, it's gold. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I get with that. All right, and so he's in the ring, and here comes Hangman Adam Page's theme music, and just with vigor and fire and just being irritated, he goes to the ring. He gets up in MJS's face. He's like, this is my match. Can you please leave right now?" And so MJF hands up, he leaves, and so there, and I guess the person who's in there earlier, no, not guess, the person who's in there earlier, this was their match, right? So, side note, if when y'all want to do Hangman versus MJF, yes, please, that's gonna be something good. Anyway, right, this was a squash match. I'm not even sure it went 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3, Hangman wins. But here comes the main of this. Here really comes the star of the segment. So Christopher Daniels comes out with a neck brace, and like Hangman's just so freaking mad. So he comes, so he leaves the ring. He boasts to Christopher Daniels. He's like, "What? You want me to beat you behind again? I'll do it." It's like Christopher Daniels like, "Look. I'm not trying to fight you. Like, I never wanted to fight you. I was just trying to help. But I can see now, hindsight's 2020. I was just putting fuel to the fire, and it was bad on my part. And you put your hands on me. I did not handle it well, and I tried to get into a match with you. And this is basically one of the deadliest matches ever with one of the deadliest men ever. And I regret it. This was not your fault. This was my fault. You beat me. And I think you should know that I went to the doctors. The doctors have advised me that I can never compete again. And so again, like Heyman's just like he's just like in the phase of he's still in a fog of anger, but I think something finally snaps. He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yes." So I was just here. I'm out here just to tell you that you were my last and final match, and you beat me. And so like now it's like he's Heyman is finally snapping out of the crazy fog, and he's like, "Look, it wasn't your fault. I'm the one who challenged you, and it was on me not to take it that far. I just hope you're happy." And then Danielson leaves, and Heyman, like, he finally doesn't look crazy. He finally doesn't look angry. He just looks confused, maybe a little bit hurt. Like, hold on, wait, I was your last match? Like, you're actually retiring because of me? And like he like so his hands on his hip, he's actually breathing like a normal person. And so it's just like he's actually thinking. The furrow in his eyebrows actually softened. It's just like, yes, sir, be an actual person. And so I'm not sure if someone's trying to talk to him, but he just shuts the camera down. It's like, yes, there's our Hangman. Come back to the light. Come back to the light. It took you almost hurting your freaking friend and basically retiring him. But yes, come back to the light. I loved all of this. The only caveat is, if you really think Christopher Daniels retired, it's always a catch-22 with these wrestlers. It's like they say retire, you give them 3 years and go back to they do one more match. But as of right now, this all of this worked, and just Hangman going from crazed lunatic to there's our Hangman, there's our Boo Boo Bear. That was so much. That was everything. Any thoughts on this?
I still don't think that Hangman has come back to his senses. I still think he's delusional. But I do understand what you're
He
saying,
came
and
back to the surface.
it did look like he softened a little bit, at least on the surface. For all intents and purposes, Christopher Daniels has been retired for a long time, even longer than the other guys that we talked about have been retired, the John Cena's and so not technically retired, but extremely part time for a very long time now. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I don't honestly think he was really hurt during their match, and I don't think that the doctors have told him, "Oh, you can't ever wrestle again." I just think that's the storyline he wants to give here, and it plays well because it is what it is. I mean, he doesn't have to wrestle anyhow. So, but it
Right.
wouldn't surprise me. The only reason I'm not sure that you'll ever see him again is just because of his age. He's already like 55, and 3 more years is a long time, or even 2 more years is a long time if he's going to wait that long before another match. Now that doesn't mean he won't have one, but that being said, if this situation was his last match and last feud, it could have been worse, I suppose, for someone like Christopher Daniels. So, but I love him backstage. Hangman. This whole thing was fun, and yeah, I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. But the poor jobber, got squashed down. I mean, I always feel
Yes,
bad
he
for
did.
local talent. That, I mean, don't get me wrong, you get to be on AEW Dynamite and in the ring with Hangman, but for 5 seconds is kind of like, what's
Daggone
it
it.
matter? But
Yeah.
it is what it is. Yeah, I had no problem with any of this. I liked it all.
It is what it is. All right, and so then we have Swerve and Prince Nana in the back, and Swerve was like, "Look here, little boy, I'm all tired of you just threatening people and thinking you real crazy and stuff." And so he's like, "But trust me, you gonna get your comeuppance. It's like we're meeting at Australia, but maybe I'll beat you behind before that. Let's see." And so I love that little segment where it's just like, look, because you keep threatening people with scissors and stuff. I'm gonna show you who the big man here in this segment. Any thoughts on this? Cool. All
Not
right.
really. I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
Swerve and Nana, it's a solid promo. Swerve's a good promo. Nana's a good talker, but not really. I mean, they're hyping up this match, and they're doing a decent job of it. I don't know how invested I am necessarily in it. I mean, I think it's going to be good. It can't not be good. Like I said, I mean, I said earlier, I'm here for it, and I mean, ultimately, I am. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a solid match. I'm just not sure that I'm 100% on board with this extreme heel Ricochet. But beyond that, I mean,
It should in ring. It should be great. All right. And then we have a Monet segment. She walks into, I guess, her party. You celebrating, for belt Monet. And then Renee is about to interview her. Here comes Harley Cameron.
this is the guitar segment. I got confused. I thought that was earlier.
Yes,
This is the guitar segment where she comes and playing the guitar.
yes. And so instead of just asking for a match, she sings Monet this deliciously funny, great song. And she's like, "You don't have an opponent? How about me? I want to get on the money chain, the money chain. Harley versus Monet on the money chain." It's just like, I love you. I love you so much. I want better for you. Yes, I'm glad that you and Sriracha are done. Okay. And so, as she's doing the song, Monet, I did like her. Like, it wasn't outrageous, but she was just like, "No. Because no offense, baby girl, but you didn't even beat nobody yet. So why would you deserve a match against me for the TBS championship? Bye." And then Monet leaves and starts singing "Money Train, the Money Train." I'm like, what are you doing? I hate this. I love this and I hate it at the same time. I want this to be a program. Not sure how I'm gonna get the program, but I want this to be a program. I want to do 3 matches. I'm not sure. Like, and so, and then like, but Harley was like dejected. I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, baby girl. We gonna get this match. Just a matter of who. Like, you just gotta beat somebody. Not sure who you beat, but when we do that, it's gonna be great." What do you think? Yeah, this was the segment. It was probably the segment of the night for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this, as far as promos go, or backstage segments, non-wrestling segments, this was definitely the best segment of the night. Um, Harley Cameron is growing on me. For a while, I was a little but she's definitely growing on me, and I thought this was her best segment. This was a segment where I was like, yeah, this is, she's extremely funny. This is she's in her bag right now. I She has no business being in the ring with Mercedes Moné, unfortunately. I mean, feud wise, as far as wrestling goes, she's extremely outmatched. But the promo stuff should be fun.
Yeah.
Almost right now, I mean, it wasn't a promo battle in any way, shape, or form. But if you had it,
No.
Harley's almost one up. I think she did a little bit better in this segment than Mercedes did to a certain extent. So,
Mhm.
which is great to see. Mercedes, I think Unfortunately, sometimes Mercedes falls victim to her competition and rises when she has to and falls when she doesn't. And when she's pushed, she's better than when she's not. And I think
Yeah.
Harley Cameron's going to push her in the promo area
Mm-hmm.
and the talking area, so it makes her have to be better. We'll see if Harley can hold her own in the wrestling ring when it actually comes time.
Yeah.
But this was fun. I really enjoyed this, and Harley Cameron's growing on me, so
Yeah.
I do want more for her.
Someone made the comparison of this. This reminded them of the Romp and the Hurricane segments. I want that to be the placate for these segments. I like, yes, just do that. And that is exactly what you need to do. Like, this is exactly how these segments should go. Okay, so next up we have Julia Hart versus Jamie Hayter 2. And this was better than the first time. And of course it would be because the first time was Julia Hart coming back from injury. So you're gonna know it's gonna be ring rust. So like the ring rust is off. Now we can go a little bit more full throttle. And basically it'll say a house fight, but it wasn't no special fly, it wasn't no special drop kicks or I can't hear you. Dang it.
Sweet. So I was muted the whole time you were gone, and I was talking.
All
Sweet.
right.
Awesome. That's great.
But you know
So
what? We'll pick it up. We'll pick it up.
if y'all can read my lips, you can see what I say.
Yeah.
I was just
What
saying.
happened with my tablet? But yeah.
I was just saying that. What was I saying? I was saying that. I'm a huge Jamie Hayter fan. I'm not necessarily the biggest Julia Hart fan. I think she's a little bit better promo than she is in the ring. I think we're now stuck in this kind of 50-50 booking. I think that even though you've been trying to push Julia Hart to a certain extent before she got hurt, and I know that she's an intricate member of the House of Black and whatever, I still think, like I've said, there's levels to this, and I feel like Julia Hart or Jimmy Hayter's on a level above Julia Hart. So Jimmy Hayter should be getting the win here, and she did. They shouldn't be exchanging wins, though. I don't see them on the same level. So, in that regard, it is what it is. I'm almost ready for this to be over. I know it's not. They're going to have at least a third match. But I'm kind of done with this to a certain extent. I really want Jimmy Hayter to go back to what she was and be involved in the main event title picture again. I think is where she really belongs. But yeah, it is what it is. It will get there eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like this is a fun program. I see what they're trying to do with Julia, but like you said, I think we're all like, we want Jamie in the title picture. Why are we taking so long? All right. And then at the end of the segment, of course, you can say Jimmy Hayter won. She gets on the mic and basically she was like, "Look, I actually like how you move in the world. You go by the beat of your own drum. You do stuff no matter what people think. The only thing I don't like is when you try to kill me with a freaking arrow or straight missing my eye. But besides that, you a bad bitch. And if you want to do number 3, you find me and let's do it. I like this. This was decent. This of course it felt like everyone knows Malachi Black is left AEW, so it felt like don't worry about that. You'll be good without him. It's like, okay, are we done with this? Are we done with this? Are we done with encouraging these people like they're freaking rookies and stuff? Like in my mind, yes, we love Malachi. Yes, he was the leader, but we all loved Brody, we all love Buddy, and we all love Julia. So I don't think like it might like maybe it's just us, but like Malachi Black is not the end of the world for them, and it feels like with all these speeches, it felt like their thing is the end of the world. And it's like no, it's not. They're good all together, and if they're gonna stay, and if they're gonna stay a team, that's even better. So hopefully it's the end of those rah rah speeches. But like I said, this is probably the best of the rah rah speeches. Any thoughts?
Not really. I mean, Jimmy Hayter's a solid talker. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Malachi Black gone to the House of Black. Obviously, you know, Buddy Matthews and Brody King and Julia Hart are all people that it feels like to a certain extent have struggled a little bit to kind of make it on their own, and they benefited from being in a faction and by being with Malachi Black, who seemed, not in my opinion, but seemed to be in the views maybe of Tony Khan and other wrestling fans as maybe the big name in the stable. And so you lose him, and maybe it is what it is. But for me, Buddy and Brody are equally as good and as talented, if not better, in some regards than Malachi Black. So they shouldn't take a back seat because Malachi Black is gone. I mean, if Tony puts them in catering because there's no Malachi, then that's a true disservice to both of them. And they both deserve a lot better than that. As far as Julia Hart goes, I think she'll be okay. The women's division is solid, and she's solid enough that without them, she can, that there's room for her. I do worry, especially about Buddy Matthews, and a little bit less, but I still worry about Brody King. Buddy Matthews for sure. I think without a House of Black or Malachi Black ends up in catering, unfortunately, or somewhere else besides AEW, which is really unfortunate. And I don't know why. He's one of those guys I can't put my finger on why there's a disconnect from why he's not a mega superstar, because he has all the skills. For all intents and purposes, he should be, a mega superstar. And Brody King too. I mean, so I don't know. But I mean, I hope the best for them. But I do get concerned with Malachi Black not around that it is going to affect them ultimately.
Out of everyone, I do think Buddy Murphy's probably the most we are concerned about. But I do think there is hope for all of them. All right. So next we have. So speaking of them, a video package of no longer House of Black. We are together. In they have a vignette of basically. We were all together with a strong voice, and that voice has gone silent. Now there are no leaders. Now there are no whatever. It's just violence. When we bark together, we ride together. Bad boys for life. That's what it sounded like at the end. But basically, so they're no longer House of Black. They are called the Hounds of Hell. I'm not mad at that. We do need a better tagline of "We bark together." Come on, but yeah, I'm Hounds of Hell. I'm not mad at that. That can work.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I mean, I like the name, and I hope for the best. I mean, like I just said, I hope that for the best for at least Brody King and Buddy Matthews, that they're able to get over the Hounds of Hell. It's a good name. It's not a bad name. Yeah, that we all bark together does leave a little bit to be desired as far as a tagline catchphrase. But like I said, this looks promising, but I also worry. So we'll just ultimately have to see how it plays out. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't see them a whole lot, which is really unfortunate. But I mean, to be fair, we weren't seeing the House of Black a whole lot. I mean, we were, but we weren't. I mean, here and there, but not near as much and not used the way they should have been. So I don't have any reason to think that the Hounds of Hell would be used any differently. Especially since I still believe that people think that Malachi was the big star. So now you're missing your big name in some respects. You weren't doing a whole lot with your big name. Now your one big name to a certain extent is gone. And it'll be interesting to see how they thrive. But I mean, I hope the best from all of them.
Yes. No. I got some hope for you. And then now it's time for the main event.
For the main event.
Adam Copeland versus Pac. And this was good. And again, with certain people, it's like, how could it suck? Pac is one of those people, or it's like it's Pac. What are we talking about here? So yeah, they go bout for bout. I love the beginning of it where it's like, yeah, Pac is going fast, but Edge is countering it with not being faster, but just knowing the step ahead, right? And like again, with Adam, here's the thing, baby. You are no spring chicken. I think when he was making his comeback, someone was like, okay, when you come back, you gotta have these epic matches. They gotta be 20 minutes, they gotta be 25 minutes. No, they don't. And especially if you're gonna be gassed out. So like a 15-minute match can be just as good as a 25-minute match. So just timing wise, I was like, oh, why Adam, stop doing these long behind matches. But all in all, I did enjoy it. It was a very good match. Let's see. Adam Copeland got the win with not a spear, but a cutter, I think. And that was great. 1, 2, 3, Edge for the win, rightfully so, since you're going to go against Jon Moxley. And then we go towards the back where the Jon Moxley's group has basically kidnapped the Rock and Roll Express and FTR. Now, we get FTR your friends. Maybe I missed something, but I'm like, why are we kidnapping the Rock and Roll Express?
I was wondering the same thing.
I'm like, were they on camera on AEW and I just forgot that? Okay, I'm pretty sure, yes, they've probably been mentors, but not to the point where you beating them up was supposed to be impactful to me. I'm like, all right, haven't seen them with Adam Copeland AEW, but sure, bet, cool. So yeah, so they basically beat up FTR, basically concerto one of the Rock and Roll Express. They come out, they beat up Adam Copeland. Jay White comes out to help, but he's only one person. Boo, boo, boo. I love Jay White. And basically, Jon Moxley and friends basically chokes out Adam Copeland. Makes Jay White watches it. The end of the show. Now, some people are like, "Oh, it's the same ending." What ending do you want? He's the champion. They're supposed to be on top. So I'm not understanding. What do y'all want? What do y'all want from this storyline? Do you not want him to be strong? Do you not want him to be dominant? Like, I suppose like if you're not into it, just say you're not into it. But don't be like, "Oh, the same ending." What's it supposed to end on? Like, I don't. Whatever. But that's the end of AEW. This was a very, very good episode. I'm not even going to hold you. I'm not even going to lie. What did you think about this whole segment? The match, the in-game? Yeah.
Ultimately, I mean, I liked it all. I thought the worst part of the whole main event segment, unfortunately, was probably the match, just because it went too long and Adam Copeland doesn't need to be having matches that long anymore. To me, he's past that point, and I don't need to see that. Now, Pat can still do it. So in that regard, Pat carried him, but you could tell that Adam was definitely tired and gassed, and
Yeah.
so I don't need to see that. And honestly, when he came back, all I really wanted was Edge and Christian. And if we're never going to get that, which it seems like it's still a long ways away, then I don't need Edge anymore. I don't need Adam Copeland anymore. Like, nothing against him, but he's not Christian. I think that I believe that seeing them in AEW, you can actually see what I've been saying forever, and which a lot of other people say, which is that Christian was always the better of the two. Um, and I if we're not going to get an Edge and Christian reunion, then I don't need to see Adam Copeland anymore. That's unfortunate for him, but I just don't. He doesn't really move the needle for me. That being said, I didn't think this match was terrible. Pac always has good matches, and I thought he did a good job of carrying Adam Copeland. And Adam Copeland's a solid wrestler, so he had his moments where he looked good too. The spears are what they are. I never thought he had the greatest spear to begin with. So, it is what it is. And then post match, yeah, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, Moxley's the world champion. The D Riders are the biggest faction in AEW at the moment, whether you like it or not. Whether you think they're being booked well or not, whether you like the storyline or not, that's what they're doing, and he should be standing tall. I find it interesting that Jay White's the one that's out to support Adam Copeland. I mean, I'm not necessarily here for Jay White babyface. I like Jay White heel. So that it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I understand why Jay White's there. I mean, everyone's basically fighting with the D Riders and especially Jay White. So they've all been victims. So I get it. And I thought, it's great to see Jay White on TV and in a main event type segment because they haven't put him in a whole lot of those since being in AEW. So I like to see him in that kind of main event mix. I would have
Yeah.
rather this had been Jay White versus Pac as opposed to Cope versus Pac. That would have been much better for me, but it is what it is. And, I thought this was a very solid episode of Dynamite. For me, it did beat NXT and Raw this week. I thought it was probably an A. It was, I want to say A minus, but the more I'm thinking about it, the Harley Cameron stuff, the main event. I mean, Cope left me a little whatever, but Pac was so good and the final stuff was so good. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to give it an A. I think it was an A. So I
Yeah.
like this week.
I'm gonna give it A minus because Matt. The thing I have about the main event scene is that the person I want in the main event. I'm like, can we get past Adam Copeland so we can get to him versus Jay White and him versus Osprey or Omega? If we get there, I think this will all just be great, right? But all in all, it was too many good stuff to say that this sucked. So A minus, and yes, they do win. They do win this week in the winner's circle.
AEW again takes the victory this week. I don't know. I think Sammy might be keeping track, so maybe next week when he's back, hopefully next week when he's back, he'll be able to tell us. But
2-1.
AEW's definitely got the advantage in the long run. Over the last 19 episodes, they've won far more than Raw and
We're only
NXT.
doing 2025.
Okay, we're only doing 2025.
Yes.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of another episode of Winner's Circle. This week's winner is AEW Dynamite with another solid episode. We'll do a little house cleaning before we get out of here, as Dolores likes to say. Join us on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, where we all come together and talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. We are in the middle of our Lucha Underground Season 1 watch along, so join us for that. We'll be watching another episode this Tuesday. Friday nights, you have Friday Night Fights. It's Anika and Sammy Joe watching SmackDown starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, watching the show in real time, giving you their real time reactions and opinions to the show. Saturday mornings, which you're here with us now for the Winner's Circle, is usually myself, Anika, and Sammy Joe. No Sammy Joe this week. Reviewing Raw, NXT, and Dynamite, giving each one a grade, and the one with the highest grade at the end is your Winner's Circle winner for that week. And this week, as we just announced, it was AEW Dynamite. Saturday nights, it is a little hit or miss. Unfortunately, it won't be on tonight. We won't be here tonight for Collision or Saturday night's main event. Life be life, and there should be a rundown of Collision. I believe CM's going to be doing the rundown probably on Sunday. It'll be pre-recorded, but that should be coming out at some point, recapping Collision. Sundays, it's on hiatus right now, but as a general rule, on Sundays, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, we do enter the square circle, myself and Sammy Joe, battling it out on some sort of video game. So make sure and check that out when it comes back. We'll definitely inform you of when we are back for that. You can, hold on real quick before I do that. Let me get that off the screen. And you can scan this QR code. The QR code will take you to Linktree. And from Linktree, you can get to all of our social media from one location. We are everywhere you see up here on the screen. The Clock app, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, X, Blue Sky. So again, scan that QR code. It will take you there. We'd love to interact with all of you guys on our social medias. So check those out. last but not least, if you want to listen to the audio podcast, the audio version of the cookout, if you don't have time to sit and watch it, you can catch it on all of these podcast locations: YouTube, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify,
All them jobs.
all them, all them things. So, as Dolores likes to say, let's cut the lights. And right, I figured it out. And until next time, hold on real quick. All right.